This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG, Willie Mason OG. Round 4. Is it round 4?
5, man.
Round 4.
Coming into round 5?
Yeah, round 4's behind us.
Yeah.
This is round 4 review time.
That's crazy.
Jesus, flying.
That's crazy.
Couple of let's start again.
Yeah.
Got fucking rattled down.
That's a first.
Yeah, that's the first one out of every one we've done. Go.
Yeah, it was the
gonna
figuring
leave
out
that
if it was round 4. Figuring out if it was round 4 or 5 that rattled me. Are we leaving it in?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Go on, play on.
Right.
How's your weekend?
It was good. It was good. I was up in Cairns with the great Shane WEBKHE and James Graham.
Yep.
It was really good. It was well done for the Cairns brothers. And it was a long day Saturday, so we flew up, had to get to the airport at like 7, so up at 6. And then I didn't get home till like Saturday night, 11:45. It was a fucking tough carry. Yeah, no piss or anything like that. So I was just like, it was pretty easy, but it was just a long flight, man. I on a plane for like nearly 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's a long time. My back is fucked. My neck. I just can't sit on things like that for...
So I was up at Cairns, was it?
Yeah, Cairns brothers. We had a good time.
What is the flight to Cairns again? 5
So
hours?
3.5, 3 or 4 hours. No,
Okay.
3.5, 4 hours. A long time, man.
Yeah.
So it was a good little gang there. So Webby, different generation than myself, and then obviously Jammer there with playing in England, then playing over here pretty much in the 2010s. So
that's a good mix,
different
actually.
Perspectives, right?
Yep.
Queensland, New South Wales, Pommy. So it was really good. Webby is surprisingly one of the best speakers I've ever sat down with. He's very articulate and very he does Channel 7 stuff. He reads the sport, but he's always been very smart.
Yep. Have you not done a lot of gigs with Webby?
Not with Webby. I see Webby at a lot of functions and stuff like that with Origin and everything. We always just have a little bit of a laugh about, some wild kangaroo tours that he was amongst. That was pretty much a loose little gang. But
did you cross paths in any of your tours? Were you a part of a tour?
We've like 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
3, 4, 5. So he's got everything.
Yep.
He'd tear down the whole fabric of the NRL if he wanted to. Both of us. But he's very, very, very good. He's got some very strong points. A couple of things that I got out of it. Like he said to the people that were watching, he's like, we come into this game, right, as young men, 17-year-old, and we come out as grown men, right? So teenage, 17 years old, I come into the game. 36, I leave, right?
Wow.
So he goes, very important for clubs and for people to have you guys like your Wayne Bennett's, Craig Bellamy's, Ricky Stewart's, all the younger coaches have such a big influence upon your life. Most of the guys who come out the other end with no good influence and no really good people around them, they really struggle with the transition into normal life, right? Because it's fucking your whole life.
Yeah.
You come out married with kids and you're a grown-ass man. Maybe if you don't grow during that time of the 17 to 32-year-old, that maturation process, you get left behind.
Yeah.
Because you do get put in certain rooms and that other people won't be able to get into, right? You're very blessed with that.
Yeah.
So you need to really understand what you're putting yourself in. You're really front-loading this as a whole career. As we were speaking about, like life after footy or, the young kids in this game. We're all three of us like, this is a game where you fucking pretty much, because a lot of people say, have plan B. You told me you'd have plan B at 17. Fuck off out of my face. You tell an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids that I'm trying to teach now, have plan B, mate. They're like, this is it.
Yeah,
we're all from
they
different.
Are a little bit better.
Yeah, they are better, but the guys that are very focused on that thing, they know you've got to be front loading into that and not being like there's no distractions.
Yeah.
As 18, 19. So he says a couple of really good things. That's how we just started the talking point, and then we go off on a big fucking tangent because he's very smart, mate. And we just sat there, and it was really good. The buy round did a good thing with Jammer there. He sort of moderated both of us. We talked about everything, and it was getting filmed too, so we weren't going to say some stupid shit, but it was very knowledgeable. So I had a really good time up there. It was great.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like you talk about...
Very open mind. I'm sorry, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, well...
Coming in as that and coming out as that. And in between, I have been influenced by the right people, right? So that's why my life after football was not that hard, because my transition, my mind and everything like that, I never looked at myself as like, just rugby league. My identity was never rugby league, right? Because I went through life shit before I even hit the scene, right? Burying my father at 17, and Shane, I didn't know that Shane buried his father at 18. So we had the same fucking mentality, right? But just two different people. And, you go through that. So when you go through footy stuff, it didn't really bother me. That's why I went. That's why I think I was so steeled
So
at
you could handle
such
the
a
highs
young
and lows
age,
better.
right? That was life stuff. That's like when life stuff hits you in the face at 17. When you come down and live in this other world where it's this rugby league bubble world, it's fucking just paper talk and other people. I control what I control. Is fucking playing well and doing week in, week out stuff and turning up every single day. That's all I can control. Can't control what you say in the papers, and I don't really care what you say anyway. That's what I was always like.
Yeah.
So that was different. That's a different mindset, but
You're able to handle the highs and lows. But,
Yeah.
And good point too about the coaches. I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
How important coaches are like our mentors, really.
Yes.
In other forms of business or whatever you're doing in life, whether it's a boss at work and you're a tradie, or you're in the office and you've got a CEO, bosses and they can shape who you become as a human. And for us, it's coaches.
Exactly.
So I've never thought about that.
Have a look how many great players, NBA or NFL, thank their college coaches.
Yes.
They're the biggest influences on their lives. So me being, and I think, and Webby said it, we both attested to this, like, but us being in a position now where we have so much knowledge about life and everything, you've got to be associated with a club that you love or you played for. Any player in our era needs to be like, it's sort of our obligated job to go back and educate these young kids on, we were that 17, 18, 19-year-old kid. We were the 25-year-old kid. And now I'm the 44-year-old man, a father and everything like that. So the whole process is already done. So you can educate for every single level and just be that sort of person to go, okay, hey, Willie, if Gus rings me with, kid, this guy's just retired, he's fallen on hard times, can you give him some advice? Yeah, no worries. I think every club should have a plethora of players that played in that era, all back at their club. And you see a lot. You see a lot have that within the pathways.
Yep.
You got Josh Jackson, Steve Turner, myself, Mark O'Mealy, all within the pathways.
Yep. I feel like every
and a lot of clubs, like you got Chocky Watmow, you got all these guys. So a lot of clubs are doing it because we've lived it. So I think it's very important, and I think we should be obligated to go, okay, we need to help these young kids, the transition into just normality, right? All the pathways into the pros, right? So that's why I love doing what I'm doing now, because I'm in both.
Yep.
So it was very like this was mainly the talking points the whole time. It was a bit of origin talk, a bit of tools and stuff like that, but it was mainly just about life.
A couple of Rennies.
Yeah, a couple of little Rennie Matuas.
Tell you, a person who's grown up in front of our faces, in front of our lives, all over the cameras, the DCE news has just gone on throughout the week. It broke on Monday. We had a chat about it on Thursday. The one part I've taken out of it now, and there's still a lot that will play out, and you can understand this because now exactly what you're talking about and understanding living life in the media and how it can go on a roller coaster. The one part is you can tell that everyone, and it's become less about actually the Cherry Evans situation and how it's unfolding with Manly, and now I feel like it's becoming a bit of the battle of the media world. Yeah. It's like Channel 9, they're obviously pro Ches because he broke the story on 100% footy, and people in that camp have been very sympathetic to Ches's situation and talking about, maybe there have been some news coming out of that camp that are pro Ches. Yeah. And then on the flip side, any news that you're sort of getting out of Fox at the moment is going the other way because, they weren't able to break the news, and then they also got a tip up live from Mestrov during 360. Yeah. So they're obviously pro whatever that camp is trying to push. And look, there's going to be so much that unfolds again, but I just want to go back to my original point. There's three sides to every story. Somewhere in between there's going to be the truth. But again, the way Daly's handled it, and I was really glad that the Manly crowd, and even he said, didn't buy into all the bullshit. And he handled business at home. He didn't get booed. In fact, he got cheered. Yeah. Apparently the crowd was saying 2 more years, which is cool to see.
Yeah, that's good.
But even just having his presser after, I don't know if you've seen the presser after or him getting interviewed. He is chalk and cheese from where he was 10 years ago. So they're going to be people out and come and trying to have a go at him. He doesn't give a shit anymore.
Exactly.
He knows exactly who he is.
That's
he knows exactly what he's going to do. He knows exactly what the situation is at Manly.
I think.
And
just say we rewind 10 years ago, right? Like we were both at the club there, and there was a young 25-year-old kid with the world at his feet who made that decision. A young father, a young man, right? And now you got a grown-ass man who knows what the fuck he is.
Yeah.
So people understand this at home right now, like Ches has got his story out. People get jealous when you don't give them the exclusive, and Mr. Exclusive got the exclusive Channel 9. No shit. You probably see DCE in Channel 9 in about 3 years. He'll be sitting there right with him. So he's a smart, methodical human, right? So he's very calculated.
I'll be tabling him in offer.
You know, he'll be
We'll table him some at levels as well.
Yeah, like he will be a Channel 9 fucking a commentator one day, 100%. Just mainly because of this little thing, but I think he's been angling that way for a while now. So now if you don't break that story, all these other little media outlets will just try and change it a little bit, just try and ruin the narrative, just a little bit, try and discredit the managers, this. But understand, people, it's fucking over. He's going to make his decision now, put it to bed, leave it alone, because there's going to be other little stories coming here and there, which are absolutely loads of shit. So well done, DCE. You got through it. That was the big Lipman's test on Sunday if he was going to get booed at Brookie. Yeah. I even fucking tuned. I was watching it live. I went, oh, I felt nervous. I'm like, they surely can't do this to this kid, right? Yeah. 10 years ago, yeah, you deserved it.
Yeah.
But not now. I said, this doesn't seem like a DCE problem anymore.
Also, 10 years ago, like, I know you go back to that, and you mentioned it in the last potty. There's also parts of that story that are exactly right from one side of the camp. That point of his career, he didn't have the experience to come out and talk about his side of it, and he still hasn't, and there will be time for that. But there's also layers to that story that have just been...
you'll leave that for the book.
Yeah. The book will be fucking good.
Yeah.
It'll be a mad
book of truths will be. I hope he does it. I remember a couple of years ago we were talking about this, and I was like, we had a couple of screeners, and we're just will you eventually, tell your story and how it all played out and the different factors and all that. And I don't think it was as appealing to him, but like I said, now where he is now, and how comfortable he is in his own skin. Yeah, maybe life after footy there'll be a proper sit down. Pretty good chance Mr. Exclusive gets it if he's in his camp now. With the media stuff. I don't think that's super appealing to him. I think he'll do something a little bit different. I'm not too sure what it is, but
he's got coaching written. I
just wouldn't be surprised.
I think coaching's more.
I just wouldn't be surprised if he just here now, new fucking, is Daily Cherry Evans. Well, maybe for a year or two, or in 5 years.
For sure. No, I can see him doing, because I reckon if you're looking at, say, for example, Joey, I don't think Joey was maybe as super keen to be doing the 9 stuff. He likes doing that mentoring stuff that how he does some halves work and he works out of the clubs. I could probably see Ches doing something like that.
Is Joey still doing that? Because he was in Para like a couple of years back.
As much. I don't think he's working with clubs anymore.
We miss him.
Yeah, he should. I mean, if I was any club with a struggling half or juniors, I'd be like, fucking here.
I don't know if this is talking out of school. We'll leave it in there, and I'll text him after. But I was chatting to Braith the other day after we trained, and he said he went and did some one-on-one work with Lockie Ilias.
I have heard that too.
The rough work. So I don't know if he said that on 360. Leave it in there, and I'll text Braith after this and just see.
Boy, isn't it?
Yeah. So Joey still does shit like that, which is cool. I think that's cool from both Braith and Lockie.
But it was just down at the park randomly. I think that's why I've heard that before.
If I was St George, here's fucking 50 grand. Fix it.
Yeah. You'd be
any half, like young Volkman, young kid from Para, come here. Do a tutorial. Just work with him once a week. He's fucking 30, 50, I don't know what it is, like a year. All these young, aspiring halves should be just like a quarterback fucking, Peyton Manning has quarterbacks, a quarterback school. It should be just a halves for fucking Joey in every preseason. He should be doing that. A whole just 2 or 3 week course on how to be a fucking half, or JT or someone.
Yeah.
If you're in that position where it's such a position where you've got to be so cerebral and fucking smart, everything like these days, right?
Is it in JT's nature?
Yeah, I don't know, but it'd just be fun if you're just doing that. You're just trying to help.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Cronk should do it. Like all the great halves.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck.
Cooper would be really good to listen to.
Yeah.
For halves, especially if you're not super talented, and not to say that that Joey and JT weren't good game managers and all that sort of stuff, but if you're talking about starting from probably a lower base because they were so talented, skillfully and athletically, Cooper would probably be one of the best.
Cooper's got the heart, the work ethic, and the lock down and write stuff down. He was that sort of half. He was that sort of makeshift half at the start.
Actually, the more and I love talking about this stuff as well. didn't necessarily work for Cooper a couple of years ago with Sam Walker, did it?
No,
because
everyone's different.
Trying to get Sam Walker to, I think they were butting heads a lot. So I think Cooper worked really well with his relationship with a guy like Luke Keary.
Yeah.
But like the teachings with Sam Walker felt like that wasn't working.
Cooper Cronk wasn't a natural half.
Yeah.
You know, like Sam Walker's been a natural half since he was 6, playing off the top of his head. He reminds me of Cherry. We said this last week. But he would have moulded his game around Joey, JT and everyone like that. Just play the ball, play what's in front of you, all that kind of stuff, and just play footy.
Yeah.
Where Cooper Cronk was so methodical in everything, every single play, everywhere he got on the field.
Yeah.
That's not for everyone. So he'd be a fucking arsehole of a coach.
So if JT would be a good coach for Walker.
JT would be a mad coach. Yeah. You know, like Joey would be, because Joey's like, Joey and JT, that mind is mental. Should both do a school. They'd clean up.
Little throwback. I had the Joey Johns footy where he brought out that footy, teaching you how to kick.
Where you
had
put
the
your hands and shit.
Yeah, I had that back in the day. It didn't do much for me, but
like JT, like those two are going to go down as the greatest halves of all time. Like there's no one going to fucking come near him. I think maybe Cleary when he finishes, right? Cleary's probably the closest thing to all of them. He's taken little bits of Joey, little bits of JT, little bits of Cooper.
He's got a sprinkle of all.
He's got a sprinkle of all of them because he can fight. He just showed me in the grand final what he's got. Fucking give me the ball, take it on. You know, then he's methodical like Cooper Cronk. He's done everything. He showed us all the JT, the Joey, and Cooper Cronk. If you think that's a Mount Rushmore halfbacks, and even Alfie Langer. I think Alfie's up there. He's slept on as one of the greats.
Yeah. Alfie never gets enough credit, does he? Because that's the Queensland New South Wales divide.
Yeah, and
was as strong during that period as it's ever been.
Yeah.
So if you were from New South Wales, you hated Alfie. And if you were from Queensland, you hated Joey.
Because you got it was very
hard.
The polar opposite back then was Ricky Stewart.
Yeah.
So Ricky and Alfie were going at it. There's a sevens job in the early 90s. Ricky started the fucking 30-metre cutout to Laurie Daly in the fucking late 80s. You know, imagine getting zinged. Like the defensive systems weren't like it was now. Imagine you're a middle or a fucking centre. Sticky gets the ball and goes bang and hits Loz or Mal on the out ball. 30 metres. Like it's just, and it was just clear day. Like it was just daylight. That was good. And then it went from that into the Joey era. You know, so I love the maturation and I love the whole evolution of the fucking seven, man. Then you get your Clearys.
And then you get your Cam Munsters. All right, so there we go. There's a little segue into Cam Munster. I'm chatting to him throughout the week. So if you've got any questions for the Money Man, remember, you can win a recovery and performance pack from Athlete, valued up to $500. So get the questions in for money. We had a really good one for Foz, which I want to ask you about as well a little bit later on, mate.
Just a quick pause on that. The timing of us having Foz, then Munster, like each week something's happening in their careers.
It's been perfect timing.
It's been crazy.
There's always a Wes Nagama in the league, man.
Yeah. Plenty of Weses.
Yeah, these two.
Scando reached out to me. John Scandalis, one of the greats, one of the best blokes. He couldn't stop laughing when we mentioned his name when I was telling that little grey area story.
Yeah, I seen him comment actually.
He's one of the best guys in the game, mate, and a fucking underrated prop man.
Yeah,
he was in that era. There was some fucking decent props. If there was another era, he would have played like Origin.
Yeah,
he was about it, mate. And the Tigers team ended up getting that. Premiership in 05, mate, he was fucking good. He was tough dude. Is he in the front office at the Tigers? Yeah, he does some stuff. He's on the sidelines and that all the time. He does some good stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Proper Campbelltown boy.
Yep. Go ahead and subscribe and like this podcast if you'd like. Go on Instagram.
Hit the like button. Smash it.
Apple and Spotify.
I'm a mad subscriber now.
Like, we're travelling at the moment.
I'm a mad subscriber at the moment.
We need those subs. We need.
You talk about because you know YouTube, right? And I'm like, I know how important this shit is, right? I think I've subscribed to like 1,000 things now. I'm fucked. My algorithm's all over the joint. It's Randy's fault.
We've got me and Luke. You got a levels one that we've got probably about 25. I don't want to do too much because then you're right, it clogs up the feed.
Yeah.
You want to make sure.
Yeah, because I go in there and subscribe to stuff to make sure you see things.
Yeah, but then I unsubscribe. I get rid of them if they're fucking useless. Like,
you know what's coming up on my podcast? I want to keep all the
footy stuff in there. That's why.
You know what?
So I've got a couple of the other boys' podcasts. I've got Hello Sports. I want to see all bloke, all that sort of shit.
But I don't want to see all that shit sometimes.
No, you don't. That's why you don't log into the account. We don't want to see your account.
I want to go fucking down the rabbit hole. I want to go down the rabbit hole. I follow this thing called Podcast Cringe. Have you seen it? No. Oh, he's an Aussie bloke who just bags the fuck out of all these comedians. That's why when you were talking about those zings and that last week, it was all these fucking comedians Brendan Schaub and all these blokes fucking suck them all the time. There's nicotine hits. That's why I knew it. But this Aussie bloke just fucking hammers Joe Rogan, hammers all the comedians, podcast cringe. He's all over my fucking algorithm because I pressed on him fucking 2 or 3 times, just bagging the fuck out of everyone.
Probably got a bit of South Park on there as well, don't
yeah, it's heaps of just, and then it just goes into history and all these. Oh mate, psychedelics, fucking.
There was a moment in time where our group chat was just hammered about 7-8 times a day with just the most random things off Instagram I've ever seen.
Mate, your explore page. That'll ruin your algorithm.
Yeah, that ruined our explore pages.
Mine and Rennie's is the same. Because it's fucking getting sent this, that, and it could go from South Park to probably DMT and fucking psilocybin, and then it just back down into some shark or
Silky Johnson.
Yeah, mate. And then it's just taking the piss out of movies.
All right, mate. Let's get to your Red Bull OG Bull of the week. And who is that for this week?
A little bit of a breakdown here. I'll give you the name first. Big Tino Fa'asul Mala'awi, right? So he has been back, I think it's his 3rd game back now because they missed the bye. They got dusted by the Dogs. In the last 2 weeks, he's been the guy, right? He's found his feet. And I had a really good chat to him down in Maroubra. I told you that for about an hour. Very impressive young man. And what I saw on the weekend was the young bull turn to the old bull, right? So I saw... There was 2 plays here. So Regan Campbell-Gillard, they were trying to get the sealer to try and get the Roosters, right? I think they were up about 6 with about 10 to go or something like that. Regan Campbell-Gillard gets in double shape at the post, on the left side of the post, whatever, hits his shoulder. Timing was fucking way off, right?
Hits Tino's shoulder.
It was fucking, he was pissed off. The timing was off. Next time around, right? So you see Tino coming in, Red just going, he says, fuck off. Because I think that would have been the vocab I would have used.
Because they were getting ready to go.
They were both doing it again. He goes, he's like, get the fuck out of my way. I don't need it. So if you watch the replay, it's him by himself. I'm not even going to name the defenders because they know who they are. And I'm like,
friend of the family.
Got to get your body in front first of all because you know who's coming, right? He did not give a fuck. He's going to go, I'm going to get the sealer. It's game over. He called game. Bang, inside shoulders, 1 out. Game over.
Yeah.
You see Reg is still back there. Reg didn't even run the decoy out the back. He just
wasn't required.
Wasn't required. And I'm like, that's the old bull getting told by the new old bull. No, I'm just like, that's the maturation process. That's what I love about Tino. He just adds little things to his game. And because he should have been stopped and he went, fuck off, my game. See you later.
Love that. Called game. Called game. Like Josh Giddey.
He called game.
On LeBron.
Josh Giddey. Yeah, that was good. Giddey was close.
Yeah. That's a good one. So I remember when Tino sort of takes that carry and it looked like it was forced. Chris Randall got out of dummy half and he had to whip it too hard. Maybe Reggie got his shape a little bit wrong. So Tino said, next time, fucking get out of my way.
Yeah.
Not required. Just
I used to love that running those lines. Sometimes you don't. It's not required to have that other person. You use the post as another decoy as well as a defender.
Yep.
And then you're always inside shoulders in the wet weather and direct. It's the hardest line to hit. Sometimes you see like when we'll break games down, some teams, especially like against Cronulla, the dog, you get sideways. You go east-west, you get dealt with, right? If you're fucking north-south and inside shoulders, you always find some joy there. And Tino loves that line. He's hard to stop, mate. You got to pick where you're running. And he picked the perfect spot, and it's just like most of the big guys who score those shots, he was untouched.
Yeah.
The line was beautiful, and the ball was fucking
silky.
Class.
Yeah. Was it Verrills?
Held it up.
It would have been Verrills.
Because most of the nines are sort of looking up there, and then they're looking out the back. No one was even out the back.
It was the last tackle.
So it was, I'm like, defense markers should have absolutely hammered him. A and B should have come up, and they should have stopped that.
Yeah.
Bad defense, great attack.
I think maybe because of the last tackle and not giving them an out, you've still got to come up with the tackle. They maybe relaxed it for a little bit. You can't relax when Tino's running the ball.
Especially when he's winding up like that. Yeah. I'm thinking he's going to get that ball.
He actually did against your Bulldogs, even though they lost
beast,
the game.
Mate. He scores all the time.
He ran over 2 or 3
I think I've scored maybe 20 tries like that. Easily. Just like, because you just got to time it right.
Yeah. And you quick play the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, good shout. He's turned from a young buck to an OG in a very short space.
Just in that place there, because Reg, he'd respect the shit out of Reg.
Yeah,
for him to do that, fuck it. Get out.
Reggie goes, all right.
Get out. He's like, you got it, kid. You got it. You know, he's 25 years old. This kid's in his prime. He's had a year off.
You know what that is too? It's a really good in-game adjustment. So not getting too frustrated by an error.
That's leadership.
You drop the ball. Rather than just dwelling on it, all right, if I get that opportunity again, Reg, not required.
1 metre deeper.
Yeah, I like it.
It was beautiful.
Shout,
and that's the leadership. That's what he is. And that's me. When I was speaking to him, I told you how great it was to speak to a young kid who had so much wisdom.
That's a young buck with an OG mentality.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
He understands a lot. So well done.
All right, my Scopes young buck of this week is a guy before Vegas. Remember we were talking about the lineups and you were talking about, the Warriors and you had your question marks on them, and fairly so. He said there were a couple of young fellas that are coming off the bench. I don't really know their names. Vaimago, Leka Halasima. They're becoming a couple of real tearaways for him off the
17?
bench. Yeah.
Ooh, he's a problem. He's a problem.
I'll refresh your memory to last year. It was his first game, so you might not have been aware, but you would have remembered the moment. They had a few injuries to Dylan Martinez-Lesniak and Marcelo Montoya. I think there was because Marcelo was playing for the Warriors, obviously. And there was either a head knock or something happened to the wingers, and they both had to be taken off. So Leka, a back rower, had to play in the centres. Bush worked over Bronson Sherry. Beautiful, nice move. Go straight through. Nearly scored the try of the season, which would have won him the game. But Bronson Sherry recovers at the last minute, holds up Leka Halasima. But it wasn't happening on the weekend. This is the game when I know they end up kicking a penalty goal to win it a little bit later on. But Leka Halasima, I want to give him credit firstly for, and as you'd know this, mate, being a back rower. In yardage, what do you do? And Webby mentioned this in the presser. You don't just get back to your original spot. When the wingers go in for a scoot,
you're out.
The back rowers will push out, and the middles also have to push out. So, first of all, for a young guy, he's doing his job. He's getting back to the wing where he's supposed to be. But not many back rows can finish in the way that he finished.
I thought is this another winger? The way that he's running.
He gets a nice little tip on, good footy, eyes up footy. They play footy. Leka goes away. Bump, step.
Bump stopped on a dime.
Bump, step, shush. Webby furious too, by the way. That he
Did you see Stacey Jones? No, Stacey Jones is like, because everybody was saying, why didn't he go for the cheese? The block of cheese was saying it.
Mate, he could have gone an extra 5 metres minimum. But not required. Shout out to Lukey Metcalf, ice in his veins. He's hitting us like Lukey didn't care as well because he's like, yes, I'll still kick it and then I'll kick the penalty goal. But Leka Halasima, absolute tearaway, absolute young buck. They've got some good senior players who can teach him about being first graders. Mitchie Barnett, Fisher Harris, even Murata Nikora, who he comes on for in the back row. Yeah, the Warriors, very impressive. Good youngsters like Lautea, Taintu Opiki.
Yeah.
They've got some nice youngsters.
Always got some good young kids in New Zealand, the Warriors. He looks fit. And he's got mad footwork, left arm carry, be good left side back rower. He's got everything. I saw him. I was wondering who the kid was at half time talking like to the village of Pompeii, the winger. And I was just like, and it was sort of right on his face for like 10, 12, like he was sort of like G'ing up going, we've got these motherfuckers, man. He did say that. I was like, yeah, we got it, let's keep going. But like he was like G'ing it up massive. And then I was wondering why Nikora was off for so long. Then I saw him just going at Terrell May.
Yeah.
Like having proper, and I was like 15 years ago, those two will bang it out, both of them.
That was Toga versus Uzo.
Oh, mate. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, that would be an ugly fight too because they were about it, both of them.
They were about it.
Two young bulls going at it. They need to just fucking punch on. I love it. But you can see all the time where Terrell May had him like that and you could see him just fucking mad karate chops. About 10 he copped. I reckon he fucking had some bruises on his arms, Terrell May. Because you know when they just hold you in a tackle? Oh, and he pissed that little young kid off so much. And anyway, he's talking some smack in at half time and he goes out and delivers that. I fucking love it. He's an animal, man.
Let's go back to the exchange quickly. And you're right. I'm 100% with you. Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to see people throw down and a couple of alphas go at each other. But the level of respect quickly was established in about 3 or 4 pushes. So the original was Leka wants him to get off. Terrell ain't about that. He's trying to slow down the play of the ball. Then there was a little push. And Terrell's like, whoa, relax. You couple of games in. Terrell's quickly becoming a bit of an alpha at the Tigers. And then Leka's like, nah, I ain't about that life. You're not going to put it on me. And then Terrell's like,
there was a clash, wasn't there?
There was like 3 little battles, and then they both looked at each other and went, respect. Respect for not giving respect.
And you can't do shit anyway because you go off for 10, that's game.
Yeah.
Both those guys. You throw one little punch there, or if he had the ball had got changed over,
For sure.
that is massive. So it's discipline for these young kids too, not to lose your cool, right? As I said, like the era that we played in, you could just punch on anywhere.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, right?
For sure.
And then, but now it's a lot of discipline. So like, if he had carried on,
It does show discipline.
yeah, you would have been off for 10. I reckon the coach should be applauding that because they're two young bucks going at it.
Yeah. But
And
I think there was a level of like,
there was fist clenchment.
we're both about this. Like,
Get it. I get it. Let's
okay,
go. Let's get on with the game.
I know you're about it. You know I'm about it. Let's just get on with the game. Sweet.
Respect.
Respect for not giving me easy. All right, let's get to the YouTube replies. I've got a couple of nice comments about what I've been doing on SEN that I just want to read out. Very rarely do this stuff, but I've been, as you know, Mace, I've been really put in a lot of effort this year compared to, not like I wasn't last year, but I've been trying to be really detailed with a couple of good mentors in Jimmy Smith and Joel Kane, who are helping out the commentary side of things, which I've really enjoyed. Josh Pryor wrote this comment: love Willie's commentary chat from last week. I'm super specific about who I can and can't listen to, and often find myself syncing up the radio, particularly over Friday. I will always sync up Sugar and Skip, so thank you for that, mate. And this one comes from Pistolami. Boys, quick story followed by a question. I was driving on Harrington on a family trip trying to listen to the Chooks vs. Wars last weekend and found myself blowing up that I couldn't get service in 2025 while they're building rocket ships that go to fucking space. Anyways, was stressed and tried my luck flicking through the radio and stumbled upon a familiar voice calling the footy without the journo drama, just footy and good chat from a bloke who still loves it, and you can hear it in his calling. Big shout out, Scope. You saved my weekend and got me looking for more of your games that you're calling. So thank you very much, Pistol.
Yeah, good.
A question for the big dog, Mace. With the form of Haas, May, Kalawamatangi, and Olakawatu, is this forward pack for New South Wales as much of an alpha presence as it has been since the mid-2000s? What's your current alpha list coming to? And we've got a matchup this week, Bronx versus Tigers, Payne Haas versus Terrell May. Who have you got in the battle of the alphas in that game? Cheers, boys. Love the levels you bring.
I think there's a lot of Polynesian brothers that are going hard. They're going to be pushing for some spots, right? But you're probably not going to push Liam Martin out 100%. You're not going to. I think Crichton. I think his spots may be up for a bit of a challenge from Hudson Young. Would you? I think a little bit, or a Kaloa Matangi or someone like that. They can bring it. Olakwatu can switch to the left.
I love that you mentioned Kaloa Matangi.
Yeah, Kaloa Matangi, he deserves a shout. He's been playing great football for a couple of years. He missed out on last year because he started the year off shit. Yep. He's not in that position where he warrants to get picked. So his form needs to be fucking elite like it is now.
Who, Angus?
Kaloa Matangi.
He started the year well.
No. Last year he didn't. That's why he missed out on Origin. Like, he didn't start the year that well. So, like, I
think it was more self-form.
You fall behind. No, he didn't start the year off good. He didn't. Trust me, because I would have put him in most of these teams, but he wasn't. Then it come to the Origin, and Olakwatu's already got that spot because he's ripped and teared the whole year. Because compared to that last year before that, Kalomatangi, he was killing it. But he's not in a position where he's like, you're getting picked in 17 all the time when you've got guys like this around.
Also, Demetrio moved him from the edge.
And he was getting fucked around a lot, right? I would have still nearly put him on the bench just because he can play the game. He's a gun. But now you're going to have these guys, and it's going to be hard to get the mix right. You can't have all these guys in the same pack, right? Like, you got to have your workers, you got to have different people in different positions, right? You can have Payne Haas. Payne Haas is way light years ahead of everyone else at the moment.
Yep.
Him and Tino's the one who's got to take care of Payne Haas. Haas and May, I'm not even phased. Payne Haas, no one can really stop him on his day.
Yep.
And Terra May's third year in, it's not his choice. It's not his fucking. He wouldn't be going out there going, I'm going to stop Payne Haas in his tracks. He ain't that dude.
You know what's a funny thing about these two guys? And I agree with you 100%.
Different players, mate.
They're different players.
Yeah.
So Terrell May played 80 minutes on the weekend as well. Payne Haas is capable of it. We would prefer Madge play him in the fashion that he did early on in the year, where we give him a bit of a spell. But neither of them really, not that they don't have it in their bag, because they have to do so much work. They're not like the OG. There's
no battles, WEBKHE and O'Mealy and shit like that anymore. There's none of that.
Yes.
There's none. The props are so they can move out. Payne Haas can attack on the edge, so can Terrell May. They're skilled.
Yeah, they do all their damage offensively trying to hurt you. neither of them really sort of shoot out of the line and try to come up with a big defensive effort, right?
No.
Which
that's where Tino and Payne is different because you've got body size that are pretty even. And Tino, and then when they, because they're good mates as well. So when they go at it, it's obviously state versus state, and you just got to take all that shit away. That's the challenge, right? But that's not a good challenge for either. I think May's just too young and too small to go at Haas. And he doesn't even really want to. Like Tyrell May's a decent player. He's no fucking Payne Haas, bud. Come on.
He's nowhere near on Payne's level, but they're going to go 80 minutes.
They'll run into each other sometimes. Yeah. And no one's going to bash anyone.
And they're going to put up 20 carries and 180 metres. And they've both got an offload in their game.
Yeah.
It's
like the little.
It's a great matchup for Terrell May to start to establish himself and get him in that top tier conversation.
But because, as I said, May he's not even going out there going, fuck, I need to take Payne Haas's head off. It ain't like that anymore.
See, that's my point.
Yeah,
Payne
that's what I mean. And Payne's like, I'm just going to run over whoever is in front of me.
Correct.
And you might be in front of me, May, so fucking good luck. You'll probably be in front of me about 10 times when I get the ball. And whatever, you're going to need to fucking put a shot on me, try to. No one fucking can, apart from Tino. Tino's the only one who can fucking probably dominate him because he's 6'5" and 118 kilos. And that's the same body type. You're a fucking little guy. You're not touching Payne Haas. You are not touching him. He's too powerful. I've seen him run to some of the best defenders. They'll tackle him. They're not putting him on his back. Liam Martin will crack him in the thighs and stuff like that. He ain't putting him on his back. The dude is like at another level, like where he's like, if he wants to fucking find his front, he's finding his front. If he wants an offload, he's getting an offload. That's the level that Payne Haas is at. And that's the level that you got to try and get at. He can pass if he wants. He doesn't have to pass. He's going to make 200 metres on your pack. You just got to manage this guy.
It'll be a good matchup for not only Terrell May, but for Noah Pole against Paddy Carrigan and Payne Haas. That's going to be a good matchup.
Man.
There's some good matchups this round, given the context of the season.
But the Tigers are about it, you know, and this is a good test for them. All right. It's a good test.
Let's move from front rowers to back rowers. We had a chat with Fozzie about the line running. I know you're a huge fan of Britton Nikota. Gents, Foz breakdown of Nikota's play style was riveting. Enjoyed scope catching some praise too. Absolutely love that you're going to have Foz and money on as much as this. So pumped. Question, it was interesting to hear that Foz considered bravery the most important part of a great line running back rower. Perhaps naively, that was unexpected for me. As always, love the illuminating and thoughtful commentary. Mace, you played back row and middle at a high level. Yeah. What was like the main thing that as a back rower, what was like, I guess, the most important part of the position that you tried to make sure you established as a back rower?
A good line runner, and like just say you'd have to create, you rarely get a clean line break, right? Especially back then or even now, it's rare to see unless it's a really bad read and a fucking great line. Nikora gets in, he does both. Great read, good line, does everything, and the ball play. It's so important for the ball play to square up. Right, he needs to take that right for or the middle away.
Who was your guy? Who was
Shifty?
Your half? Was Shifty your guy?
Shifty, fucking awesome.
Yep.
He probably put me over for like at least 30 tries. Like he was unbelievable, like just slowing the pace down, and then like I would already be on mine. It'd be an in-out line or outside in line. And it was just like, it was just timing. It was all about timing.
Yep.
And because if that ball play doesn't have tempo, like Joey Johns, JT have the best tempo. They'd show in, they'd speed up, they'd slow back down to square up. And they're trying to cause a crease in the line, right? They're trying to get someone in the middle to run out. Like when I said last week against, when you hit that line against Kaloa Matangi, the middle ran out. Don't fucking run out. You shadow these ball players, you shadow and hold, especially if you're on the line, because a ball player wants someone to come out of him. As soon as you fucking adjust, bang, you're already hitting your line anyway, because you just hit the hole. You've got to have a little bit of patience about you, right?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about when you go from Shifty to Joey and played with Joey and JT? How much extra work did you have to do with those guys before you started to feel comfortable? Did you just how quickly?
Well, I picked it up pretty quick because they're just like, I think with JT he was younger. You just had to pick it up quick with Joey.
Okay,
otherwise he wouldn't give you the ball.
Easy for
he wouldn't give you the ball.
Or was that something?
You fucking drop the ball in a game. You're fucking not getting it again.
Okay.
It'd be like a Tom Brady and a wide receiver. He ain't going to you again if he fucking hits you. My first test I played with Joey, right? So I'm nervous as fuck, right? And he's a newie boy. He always looked after me. He goes, you stay on the inside. My second touch in a test, I scored on the post because he fucking went. He looked out, played in, and then played in again. It was just like he goes, just stay on me inside, and shut up, pretty much. Yeah. And then I just stayed on his inside. The whole time he was looking out. Next minute, he sees someone chase this way, bang to me on the inside, and then he just looks at you and go, whatever. Yeah, and JT's tempo is different, right? Yeah. JT's tempo can see everything. So when he's getting the ball and he's scanning, just say if he's on the right side of the field, he's looking at the markers, A and B. So that's why he always has someone on his inside, right? So he can take the markers off and hold A. Yep. He never really goes to the line without someone on his inside, right? Yep. So you always got to adjust and say, who knows who it is? It could be the centre from the other side of the ruck, right? So it would hold A and maybe even B up. So he'd have someone to dummy, maybe a front rower, and he'd have a lead line and then someone out the back and then a centre out there and a winger. So you're probably going against 5. So you got 6 there. Yeah. He goes, I should pull the trigger. I'm looking at the 4-man. If he rushes up, then I would hit out the back. If he holds and goes out, I hit the back rower. Yep. If the centre pushes in on the fullback coming out, I'm over the top to the centre. Yep. If the fucking winger's coming in, I'm fucking way over the top or a kick.
Little kick.
I said, you think about all this shit. He goes, yeah. I said, with someone like us trying to come up and cave his fucking ribs in because we're getting off that fucking first guy you're holding up, because as soon as he holds that up, then he's got to go again. Then we've got to check and try and come up on his inside hip. Yeah, and he'd always I'd always look at that. I said, within like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, yeah. And then the great ones do that. Yeah. And then so does Joey. Joey looks at those exact same things. So I'm privy to know all this shit because they're good friends of mine. Yeah. And I fucking ask a lot of questions about this shit.
Yep. You got some good players, some good halves, some good mentors.
It's all timing, mate. It's all timing, and it's up to that ball player.
And then everyone at Levels, you get all those nuggets because you listen to Levels Network, so you get to hear them. So that was awesome. All right, let's get to YouTube questions. This one comes from Neil Davies. How do, fellas? As 2 first graders that have both played in the Super League, you'll be well versed in how huge home ground advantage is. Do either of you feel like out of the Bunnies, Panthers and Dogs suffer playing from a core and Allianz Stadium instead of their own castle in front of their own community? Do you reckon that's going to make a huge difference?
I think
Combank as well for the Panthers is an example.
Everyone's used to it by now. The Bulldogs have been there since '99. Yeah. So there's no real, and only because they go back to Belmore now, they know what it feels like. I never knew what it felt like to go back to Belmore because I wasn't fortunate enough to play there. The Bunnies have been there for ages. Panthers have always had, I think Panthers might struggle a little bit with that home ground sort of thing because Panthers out there, they're fucking unbeatable pretty much.
That was a tough place to play.
It's a tough one, just going out, just that little bit further out. Yeah. It was like, didn't feel like it was even Sydney.
It was a bit of a heavier pitch too. Just
It's fucking tough.
They always had big boys out there.
I can only imagine how tough it is to play them in the last 5 years out there.
Yeah.
When it was hard 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When they had their big monsters out there. So Allianz, I feel like South should be playing at Allianz.
Yeah.
I just feel like that because whenever you go back and it's I think this week Roosters and Souths, it's going to be mad. It's madness, and I think the Roosters. I think so. The Roosters have a bit of a.
See, that's at a core. That's got to be.
Is it a core? See, that's got to be at Allianz. That's what I say. When that game is played, they need to have a little bit, put their little egos down and their hatred, and go, "Can we just play at Allianz?"
It's the Roosters hierarchy on this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I know. For
exactly the betterment of the game, this should be played at fucking Allianz.
Yeah,
because it would be a so much better spectacle.
Yep. I agree.
Sorry, mate, to cut you off.
No, that's good. No, that's all I wanted to say because there's no real. It sucks, We were averaging like 30 plus for the Dogs for about 5 or 6 years. We're at our peak. Imagine playing that. That's a sold out CommBank every game. That's what we had, but you couldn't notice it at Accor because it's 95,000 it was seating back in the 2000s, probably more.
Yeah, it was.
It was close to 100.
I think it was 110.
Yeah, like it was a bit there, and I'm like, and then they didn't move it in, and like they've only just adjusted it now to a rugby league field in the last 10 or 15 years.
It still looks poor.
It still looks stupid.
Yeah, Justin.
Love you, Accor.
Love you, Accor. A bit of judiciary news from the weekend as well. Emery Gula and Jordan Ricky are the two that are going to be
Pretty Ricky.
Yeah, they're in the most drama. Emery Gula is looking at 3 to 4 matches for a grade 1 crusher tackle.
What?
Jordan Ricky had a a hit that was pulled up a little bit later. He's getting 2 to 3 matches. Tom Gilbert's looking at 1 to 2, and then Josh Papali with a couple of incidents is just looking at a fine. But if he fights it, could be a couple of matches.
Don't fight it, Big Papa. Nah. That one was direct to the head.
Do you think there are
Reed Money didn't get it?
Do you think that Reed Money's lucky? I want to get to that.
Jesus.
It's the only blight on that performance from the game for me. But we'll chat about it.
We'll talk about it later?
We'll chat about it later. Yeah, I've got some
fucking lucky. It's reeked of Villasanti and Fittler. 0-2 grand final.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near the severity. It didn't look good.
Because he just missed.
Yeah, but if I do that to someone, to like fucking a little winger, he's going to get flogged and move 5 metres.
Yeah.
Didn't even budge him. Move like that. Reedy come in, he just went like that. Just moved him off the centre a little bit.
Boys, we're going to be down at Sydney Harbour Wednesday for No Limit. We got TSZYU fighting this weekend.
All right. Who's he fighting?
Shadow boxing?
He's fighting a guy called Spence. So he's a bit of an underdog. I was randomly following on my other Instagram account. So I've been following this guy for like 8 years. So it'll be an interesting matchup. We got friends of the show, Kyle Mazuria.
Okay.
He's going to be on the card as well. What I wanted to do, I wanted to get some questions because we're going to have a mic. We're going to be interviewing some of the fighters. Questions for
Timmy?
Got questions with Timmy on Wednesday. So comment any TSZYU questions that you want. And the fight is on Sunday up at Newcastle, up in your neck of the wood.
Oh, he's done well at Newcastle in the past too, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's a big fight for Tim because he's coming off the back of a couple of losses, so this is huge. He needs to get just a little bit of confidence.
I think he was just hungry, wasn't he? He was just trying to fight for that championship, take anybody on, and then just got humbled. Has to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, and then just build his way back up.
And
it's going to be hard.
You've got some yarns with Kostya from back in the day, don't you?
Yeah, he does, yeah. I mean, I do, yeah. He was like a little kid coming in the New South Wales camp, and his dad drank my fucking bar fridge.
Kostya, your bar fridge. Rabbitohs 28 defeat the Panthers 18. I've got a moment for you, Lukey, and I'll be putting you to work on this, but
work him.
I think it's
work him.
I'm going to put you to work on a clip, but I think this is important because people enjoyed like little moments in games that I think's not only important during a game, but the difference between coaching and where a team can be from 1 year to where they are now. So 13 minutes into the game, 10-0 up. Jamie Humphries, poor kick. It's caught in the full by Tom Jenkins. It's a 7-tackle set. Rather than sulk and get frustrated with the bad kick, not only does he get on with his job, he sprints back to his position, comes up with a really big tackle and shuts down Dane Laurie, who links up with Tom Jenkins on the first play. You know when they try to do that quick tap and they get straight to an edge and they try to do that tip on? He smokes Dane Laurie in a really good shot. He backs it up with another good tackle from marker on Paul Alamoti. And then he goes again to go at Toto before he's caught out for being too keen. So I absolutely love it.
I love him.
But when I was watching that particular sequence, it reminded me of last year of where the Rabbitohs were at. So I'll try to refresh your memory here, Mace. Round 9, they're playing the exact same team. It's a similar sort of effort where Cody Walker puts a kick dead. Not one player, maybe one or two players from South Sydney get back on side.
Yeah, right.
Dylan Edwards grabs the ball, sprints back to the mark, tips on to Taylor May. Taylor May runs 80 metres untouched and they score. And it just shows there's a couple of things from that are important. One, firstly, the effort from Jamie Humphries. Secondly, the defensive line from South Sydney. And it shows how important a year in footy can be and more importantly, coaching. Because if you care about your efforts and what you're putting on film and what's going to be in review, you get back and you get on side for those moments. And you do that for Wayne.
Yes.
And this is not a knock on JD and this is not a knock on...
Well, it is.
In a way, it's more. I'm just more trying to praise the top-tier coaches and even what Christian Wolf's going through right now, where there are efforts where you just push a little bit harder because you're fucking scared of what
Wayne
Wayne's
Bennett
gonna
fucking aura, mate. That's what I'm telling you. We said this last year. We said that wouldn't happen under a Wayne Bennett coach. We said it, right? So that's what we...
It's a huge difference. And I think that'll be a very good clip for people to see effort plays and it might be a fair bit of editing for you, Leki. But
how does a coach earn that in the locker room then? Like,
win
obviously
6
it's
fucking
hard,
premierships.
of course.
very
but-
hard. Yeah, it's very hard. You got to get the runs.
Sorry,
on the
you're talking
board.
about a new coach.
Well, yeah, if a new coach comes in, why can't he hold you just as accountable as Wayne?
You just can't. You just
can't.
got to earn and earn people's respect, and hope to God that when they're in that position again, they would do it. They'd work on it.
But if you're in the wrong as a player, not put in the effort, shouldn't you be called
It's
out?
weird,
on it?
mate. It's the mentality of players. I'm not
It's so
saying it's
fucking
right from the
strange,
players.
Lukey. It's a good
I'm
question.
not giving it a pass to the players who didn't get back in position last year for South Sydney. But
Well, last year you could argue that Dimitri had lost the locker room, so therefore I get your point.
yes, right. So that's you could argue that point, and that would, I think actually Dimitri might have even moved on by this point. He might have already even been done. But the point is, the intimidation of getting into a video for some coaches compared to ones that have got the runs on the board, it's just like you can't force it. So you got to go through. Sometimes it requires a bit of luck early on, mates. Right, early on in your
it's the
career.
players that you inherit.
You might inherit a really good roster, get the runs on the board, have it a little bit of intimidation about you, where players, knows that, you've been there and done that, and players have played well under you. And then for whatever reason, and then it can be the complete, like if you're completely not buying into what's being done, that's another issue. That's probably even worse, where you're like, you not only do you not care about how you're going to be viewed if you don't, come up with the efforts in a game, like you're so rat's ass that you go into video that you could care less what the coach says anyway. And
that's when it's the team is just like you.
That's when you see efforts.
Yeah,
It depends on who you are as a player as well.
Exactly.
If you've got runs on the board,
So
you're
Cam
not
Murray-
going to get dropped.
Cam Murray's going to sprint back to fucking the 30-metre line every time, regardless of who's the coach. Not pointing out anyone else, but there are a number of South players that didn't do it. There was like 1 or 2 that got onside last year. Now there was probably 10 or 11 in the clip that you'll see it when you'll see it, Lukey. Yeah. And then Jamie Humphries
just
comes
put it
up.
down to the Wayne Bennett factor. That's it. Like you can say it's a different coaches, different players and that, but he just has that. That's the knack of Wayne Bennett. He gets that extra little bit out of you, where that's the difference. That's why he's been coaching for 30 years and keeps on coaching and evolves. But that aura that he has, he just wants effort. He wants effort. Effort plays. Is that what Hos was just speaking about then? And that's what you get out of a Wayne Bennett coach team is the fucking little things. And that's what makes most of his teams a little bit better. Just a little bit better.
And Wayne had a little dig at Kalomantangi after the game. I don't know if you've seen this in the presser. Someone was asking about Kalomantangi's form. And he said, just get to the point, mate. He's lost some weight. He's not as fat. So,
he looks good.
He does look good, doesn't he?
Did he say that?
He did say that.
He's not fat.
The guy was trying to. He's
Don't
like,
fat shame him, Wayne.
He goes. He was sort of tiptoeing around the question about Keon's playing really well this year. He's looking pretty good, and he goes, "Just get to the point, mate. He's lost some weight."
He cares.
He cares.
He actually cares.
Yeah, and mate, Kalomantangi was outstanding.
Yeah, outstanding.
And look, I thought he was good. I thought he got moved around in a number of positions last year. Results definitely played a part. No Cam Murray for large portions as well, which didn't help. No Latrell Mitchell again.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Tari Ferrari is not too far away. He could be a week away, which is considering the South Sydney are 3 from 4 right now without no Latrell Mitchell and Cam Murray.
Cam, yeah, they've done outstanding. I like Jamie Humphries. I went, what? This looks like they haven't really lost much. They're sort of playing him lock, aren't they? Or was he 7?
He's 7.
Really? Feels like he's just playing like a Cam Murray sort of role. Ball playing a lot? Yeah.
No, he is. He's playing that on-ball Cam Murray
Yeah.
role. I know where you're going with that.
They don't really look that different. He fucking tackles really well.
He squares up nicely.
Yes, he does the little things. Like it's like the Timu version of Cam Murray. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just like Cam Murray's still get those things. I'm saying, I'm not disrespecting him. He's just not as good as Cam Murray at that position. But it looks like they're not really losing that much.
I like how you brought this up because I haven't thought about that as well. So normally the shape that they play through with Cam Murray, rather than them doing it with 2 middle forwards, they're just getting him at first receiver in a traditional 7 role.
Proper 7, and he's
That's how it used to be
front
run
or
with
hits
sevens.
out the back.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It doesn't really look that much different from how they're structured when Cam Murray's in that position.
Yeah, he's even got the body shape of Cam.
He looks like Cam Murray. He's just a little bit bigger. And that's what I was thinking. It looks like he is playing lock.
Yeah.
But he's just playing your traditional 7, just getting you around the park. And he's been outstanding for those guys. I think it's that's the reason why they're staying in games, because the shape hasn't changed that much.
I was watching. I'm with you. I was watching him play on the weekend. I'm like, what doesn't he do well? Kicks the ball pretty well.
Gun.
Defends really. Effort plays. runs the ball down short sides when it's not. He very rarely, so he's got a decent enough running game where he'll go down and look for some shape, but if it's not on, he'll tuck it and carry.
He's bigger than Cam Murray.
He could be a long-term 7 for him, mate.
He's 97 kilos, 183. Cam Murray is 184 and 96.
I reckon he looks a little bit heavier.
That's a juiced up Cam Murray too. As in, when you're a smaller middle.
That's hydrated.
Remember I said you put a little bit of GST?
No, that's a hydrated Cam Murray.
That's a hydrated.
That's not fasted or anything like that. Because locks, little fellas, they want to get close to 100.
Yeah, when you're an undersized lock like Cam Murray, you'll put a little bit of GST on your weight and all that. I reckon. And
then big guys like me, I'm trying to take.
How do they track it? Is there like at the start of the season you have a weigh-in?
It's an honesty thing. So you just go up and go, "What are you?" They don't like fucking.
And I used to just get on the scales. I put what I think I am, not what I am. I'm 116. I could be 120.
Hey, 2016, big cold train, Dave Taylor. So you have to weigh yourself before training sessions. So if you've been on on the schooners or you've been eating too much shit, you come in, you're overweight, there's penalties associated with it. Me and Toddy Carney used to always just like peek our eye over at Dave when
Because how much did he say he weighed?
Because you'd get on there, right?
118,
so
he used to say.
The trainers never really want to be too confronting with you unless they're the fucking Billy Johnston who's got the runs on the board. Unless they're proper OGs, they avoid the awkwardness as well. So a big guy like Dave fucking Coltrane would get on, he'd go, $1.25. We'll go, please. And change. He's $1.30.
Easy.
He was $1.30 the trainer. This is Catalans too. This is
chipping and chasing.
Chipping and chasing.
When he got the ball and he overcalled me when we were playing some team when we were playing in the South, in our own 30, he got the ball off the 9 and chipped and chased and regathered. I didn't even move up. I was like, fuck off, you kidding me? And we ended up scoring off it. Flick pass to fucking someone we scored under the post. I'm already back beyond fucking halfway because I was just like disgusted in it. And I was just like, how the fuck did he do that? I think Gifty and I were just going, you kidding me? Got it back. It was like, this is an actual, this is not clubland, right? This is a fucking Super League game.
Super League game. I've said this before, he's the second most talented, as in like physically talented player behind Hainsey that I ever played with. You'd probably be behind
Matty Bowen. Matty Bowen is the most talented GI, as well, but Coltrane as a forward. He's like
skill.
His skill set is That's why David Fafita reminds me of him a little bit. Same sort of Nelly's same size sort of build.
Thickness.
Because you got to look at like the Coley when about 2011, 12, 13, 14.
Origin.
Yeah, when he was right, he had a skill set that was fucking, his hands are like big mitts.
Don't take the South of France Coley when he's on the Steph Curry.
No. I don't look at that. And he was only 28, right? It was fucking prime time. I said,
he was way too young.
I was like, go back to fucking NRL.
He did have a stint. He went back to Canberra.
He went to Canberra. He got a half a decent year, and then he just sort of dwindled away because it's fucking hard, mate. It's hard to maintain. The training's so hard. Coley just likes a good time.
So going back to the weight, Coley loves a schooner. He's life of the party sort of guy. He's like that. So
he's a good man.
He always struggled with that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's an honesty thing. And you go up and you get on the scales, and the trainer might have a look and Coley get off. Or for in this example, might be Cam Murray, and he might be 92 kilos or 93 kilos, and then Cam how
96.
96.
It's what you want. What you want in your head, and you're the best player at. I was always like 116, 117. I could have been under, or I could have been more. But in my head, I'm like, I feel like that. I am that. Get away from me, fucking young trainer. Get off. What are you looking at?
It sucked to see AJ go down after scoring that try. Which
what did he do?
It looked like he popped his shoulder or
elbow.
I thought he did his collarbone originally.
Same.
Yeah.
Bad.
But just seeing him back and a couple of things that he did on the wing, he's got really good spatial awareness.
Yeah.
He does a really good job of not turning a bad pass into a worse pass by going out or dropping it. He just takes his licks. He'll, the occasion when I went over the top and rather than trying to score the try, 5 metres out, just hits the deck, doesn't get driven out. So I don't think he gets enough credit for that. And a guy who deserves a lot of credit, again, going back to the coach, OG Wayne, I would have dropped Ravalawa after last week. He was awful against the Sharks, but this is what the good coaches, he installs and gives Ravalawa another chance. Ravalawa was really good as well.
He's solid. He just needs to get fit.
Yeah.
Because that was not the Ravalawa that I've seen on the wing for St George, what I'm looking at now. It's about 5 kegs there that he needs to get rid of ASAP.
Yeah. Probably he would have spent a lot of time not with the full time, not doing playing Reggies. When you play Reggies, you
Care factor 0. Now he has to care.
Yep. Panthers. Jeez. All right, so they are showing signs of vulnerability. I think that's fair. And every team now is looking for revenge. When you get yourselves in the position like the Panthers are in right now,
revenge tour, everybody.
They're in the water. They're a Panther in the water. They're leaking a little bit of blood, and the Sharks are circling because they have embarrassed the entire competition now for 4 years. So if you get an opportunity and you can put it on the Panthers, they're going to get it. So how do they bounce back
to the Rabbits? I mean,
Cleary should be back this week. Edwards should be the week after.
Do I take my apology back and just stand on my ground? No, Panthers are still a good side. I mean, I think it took it out of them last week, the week before against Melbourne. That was a big effort to come back and nearly win that game. That's very disheartening to come away with a loss, right? Then to lose Cleary, you got Edwards out. That's a big fucking price to pay. You know, with Cleary would make such a difference to that side. Take a lot of pressure off Yowie. He wouldn't have to do so much ball playing. He can stick to making those yards through the middle and setting up those long plays. Those young kids that have come in, the 7, you know, there's a reason why he's playing reserve grade. You know, he's been up and down. You know, he's half decent in reserve grade. I said this last week. It's a big fucking jump to the NRL.
He looked good in that trial, didn't he?
Yeah, trial game. That's what I said. I said that's what I was interesting to see how good he can adjust to playing first grade. He's come off the bench 9 times and now he's got the starting position. So it's not like he hasn't played.
They targeted him.
Yeah. So there's a level there that he needs to get up to if he wants to play first grade. I'm not sure if did they put Cleary back in? Probably.
Nathan will be back.
Nathan will be back.
Yep. He had a category 1, so he had to force
okay, sweet. That's good. But this is fixable. That pack is still formidable. They just need the Prince back.
That was the most disappointing bit. I thought their pack got rolled.
Yeah, rolled big time.
And then I say this all the time. Sometimes you look at teams that are down the bottom and when they are rudderless, the packs don't look as good and people start questioning the pack. But if you don't have direction and you're not getting to the end of sets, even this elite pack that Penrith have got, Liam Martin, Moses Leota, they look nowhere near.
You start doing one out. You start running one out. You don't know where you are.
They start looking human, don't they?
Yeah.
They start actually looking like regular footballers, not to say they are, but when you don't get to the end of the set. So think about this. If you're a team that haven't had the positions like the Tigers in years past or Parramatta currently, and you start throwing shade at forwards or other people in the game, sometimes you've got to realise how important it is for a team to finish sets and start sets the correct way.
Yeah,
because the Penrith pack looked very human.
And what does that do to you? What makes you look human? Fatigue. So what happens when you're not winning the ground possession and all this sort of stuff that they usually dominate.
It.
You got field position. They're usually dominating you. You're catching it out, and it's very demoralising to the forward pack, right? Catching it in your 20. Well, the Bulldogs do that, so you can evidently see Parramatta what happened.
Yep.
You're like, there's no kick out, there's no burden, there's no you can make 30 metres in your set, and Birdo puts it in a 20-metre grid, right? And then the kick chase, and then you'll make them. So that's what they're kings at that, Penrith.
Yep.
You take that away, humanises everybody, and then all these guys who look unstoppable for 4 or 5 years, like Yowie and Martin and that, hey, they're under fatigue. They're getting the ball. Oh, we can fucking load up here.
Yeah.
We can load up. Fatigue makes cowards of everybody. And that's what's happened to Penrith. They're on the back end of field position. And it's like, that's what happens to every team against Penrith.
Yeah.
Now you've got to cop this. And then it'll be a great little comeback if these guys can get out. They will get out of this hole, but depending where they finish on the ladder will be depending on the fitness of their greats.
I'll tell you about their championship DNA, though.
Yeah.
Last week, they should have been smoked by Melbourne because Melbourne had a far superior team and had momentum, and then Nathan goes off. And even in this game, Moses Leota scores that try.
Yeah, she's game on.
I think they get real nervous, the Rabbitohs, and I've got a feeling the Panthers get home. So they still do have champion players, 100%. A championship mentality. For sure, you can't completely knock them, but there are little signs, and we said this before the season, Nath can't afford to miss games like he has in years past.
No, because those halves can't step up. Because before,
there's no Jerome Luai.
Luai would be like, okay, good, my team, let's go for a little bit. We get back together, we win a premiership. Okay, no Dylan Edwards. This kid's made a decent crack at it, Dane Laurie, but he's little. You know what I mean? Like his body language is all over the joint sometimes, and they pick on him. You know, he's just not. I'd rather have the kid that played in the first round. I mean, the last week against
Milky
Melbourne.
Jenkins?
Yeah, put him at fullback.
Okay, he played well as well.
Bigger
didn't he?
body, runs the ball, gets the meters back like Dylan Edwards. You don't want a person around the back fucking around.
But that going back to the point, Dane Laurie did that on 5 occasions last year for Dylan Edwards. Looked good. It's just a different makeup of a team, right?
You just need a hard dude at the back now who's about it. Take the meters, get on the back of these little things. Where Dane Laurie, he wants the magic play all the time. You know, like I think he's got talent, but I think he's a 14.
Yeah. By the way,
in that system.
By the way, Tom Jenkins,
like him.
Milky Jenkins.
Milky Jenkins.
Remember last year,
Jenkins.
Remember we threw out Milky, like we called him Milky. That's actually his nickname, Milky Jenkins.
It is.
It's a 6 against.
Even better.
I think someone blew up at us for calling him
Milky Jenkins.
He's a
You
nickname.
love a Milky Jenkins.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure some things out. No Blaze Thangi as well. He's another option, but they must be slowly trying to implement him into their style of play.
How long's Dylan Edwards out for?
I would say at least 2 more weeks.
Okay.
Because you're not fucking around with that, are you?
Nah, he's a big loss, mate. He is not.
So he had his knee at the end of last year, which would be factoring to do.
You want these guys coming back. You need Cleary coming back playing at the highest level. He's going to for them to be like even trying to get to a prelim or something like that. He's got to be playing at Dalian level.
Yep. Titans 30 defeat the Roosters 12. This one comes from Samuel Prittis. And Samuel, if you were watching the start of the show, you would love this comment now that you've got there a little bit later on. At the pub on a Friday night, 6 pints deep, and think to myself, what would Big Willie have to say about that TINO try against the Roosters? Both laughable and beautiful at the same time. Love you, Tino.
Yeah, we've broken that down. Yeah. Tino was a beast in that. It was a great move.
There we go. I put this note and I forgot to mention it before. He was also a healthy sub at the 20-minute mark. So this is what I think Desi's done.
Yeah.
Similar mindset or similar thought process than we talked about with Payne a couple of weeks ago. I think Desi gave him a spell, front load your energy to 20, put him back on at the 30-minute mark, and then he finishes the game.
Yeah.
So you're still getting your 10 or 15 minutes, but you're getting at a different part of the game. I found that interesting.
I think Wayne used to do that with a lot of his forwards. We'd play 20, but like you get told in 20 minutes you can do a lot of damage, right? You set the platform, set the standard, go out there. You at least want 10 to 12 touches and probably 10 or 12 tackles. Have a break. You tell that to any middle, and you'll see a different effort. You know what I mean? And he front loaded everything. Payne Haas, if he gets told if he's playing 20 or 30. You'll see those different efforts, and that's what I love about Desi. Thinks different.
Yeah, I love it because the box was right next to us.
Because Fodawaker can play big minutes.
Well, Fodawaker played 30 or 40 straight, I think.
Yeah,
I believe. So I seen Tino coming off the sideline. I looked down because it was the same time Radley went off. That's why I was looking down to see where Radley was to see how he was okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, fucking fractured jaw or something with his jaw. Jeez. I knew, by the way, just quickly, and I'll get back to the point. With the Rad situation, people were worried about the concussions. When I seen that hit, I knew it wasn't your classic HIA hit.
Nah.
He was in pain.
Yeah, he's like, fuck.
It's not like he was knocked out. He wasn't knocked out, but he was in pain. And I could see that. And he's a tough fucking cunt because he come back on the field as well. That's why I love him. By the way, so I was looking down at Rads and noticed Tino's off and he looked a little bit unhappy because he didn't want to be pulled off. But when you go fast forward to your moment with 10 minutes to go, he's out on the field.
Fresh as hell.
And he's as fresh as he's probably ever going to be at the 70-minute mark. Really
smart. The way that you play these middles is so important because they're so important to the game. The middles now can change the whole game. You know what I mean? If you have a real couple of dominant middles, you can really make some trouble because Fodawaker plays big minutes. Right,
Reggie plays big minutes.
Reg plays minutes, so Reg gets told you're playing 30. All right, sweet, you can still front load in the 30, but then Tino's going to come on in the last 10, so you've got a game plan. Then the second half, we just see what happens. Well, this is the plan.
You make adjustments.
This is the plan. Second half, you might be able to come off for 5 or 10 minutes. Tino, I'm not sure. If not, you can stay on and have faith in all these guys, right?
In the first half, you got plan A and B. Yeah. In the second half, you got A, B, C, D. You've got to be able to.
And to have movable parts and to have a really mobile, fit pack is priceless.
I don't think this team's perfect by any means.
Titans.
Or they're a lock for the top 8. But they're deadly. And they are probably the most dangerous team with a little they can very quickly, and obviously the intercepts are not going to happen every week from JC, But they looked under the pump for 60 minutes, and then they went bang, 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 and scored 3 tries in about 10 or 15 minutes.
There's a couple of games when you're like, the team probably should not have won.
No.
You know, I look at the Warriors yesterday, Tigers. I felt like that with the Tigers. I'm like, they shouldn't have lost that. I look at the Roosters, like, they shouldn't have lost that.
Agreed.
This is what happens, man. Like, if you don't switch on, and then next little moments, and that, like, we're probably watching the same game, obviously, and you're like, when Campbell got that intercept, I'm like, oh, no, it's only one. Oh, they're coming back.
Yeah.
Because this is a side you don't want to fuck with the Titans, because they've got guys that are just like big time players, make big plays. Like that Tino run was like, no one's going to pull the trigger like that.
Defensively, they were not as good through the middle on a couple of the yardages.
They were bad. They were really bad, not good. They
But scrambled well on the goal line,
like when Teddy's making line breaks and then it'd be like, and I was thinking in my head, I've played in these games before, when you're just killing it and you come off the field and you go, how we lose that?
It's a draw at half time.
We're pumping these guys. We're making, you have a look at the stat sheet, they're probably leading in everything with about 15 minutes to go. You know, Teddy plays one of his best games and everyone just doesn't care.
Teddy's been unreal the last 2 weeks.
Teddy's been amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but no one cares about the game because you lost.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like one of those games like, oh, how did we get that? And a full white, outstanding.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm like, this is what they can put that together for like 70 minutes, 80 minutes, you're gonna get some teams.
Yeah.
Not everyone can have that complete 80-minute effort.
For the Titans, just before we go over to the Roosters, I thought Des had a chance to go back to Weaver, who played well for him last year, but you can tell he's thinking long-term with Brimo and Campbell by not changing the halves, because it would have been so easy for him to go Weaver 7, JC 6, Brimo back to fullback, which probably for this game would have served them a lot better. But Jalen de Groot did a good job, and he's thinking long-term with JC and Brimo, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought de Groot was good. Didn't really
have to do too much.
Didn't have to do that much, but he just didn't look out of place.
Yeah.
Put him in the clear. Apparently, he's the quickest in the club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Brimo shanked another kick off the shin.
He shouldn't kick. What about his try near the line?
He had a really good one, first one in the first half. It was right in front of us in the box.
Yeah.
He just set himself and took his time.
Yeah.
He just got a good catch, wasn't running. That's
it's a big thing.
Set his feet, put in a nice kick, put it in the cage.
Yeah.
Good kick chase. And then in the second half, he just got a little bit flustered and had one off the shin that I think went dead.
Yeah,
it was a 7
He's one of the best kick chasers in the game.
He's so good at it, mate.
He just gets you down and
that's his bread and butter.
He's so quick, and he doesn't miss that tackle either. So, yeah, they're gonna upset a couple of teams. Tons. They're annoying.
Yeah, they are annoying.
They're physical too. You know, sometimes they can make adjustments, right? Because they got better. When you got better players and people that have played Origin at a high level. Reg can make adjustments, so can Tino, so can Fodawaker, so can David Fafita. You expect a lot from these guys. You know, you can go up in levels. Sometimes you might start really shit, like they did, and then, oh, come on, fucking get your shit together, boys. And then you can gradually get better. So they've got that sort of team.
Let's get to the Roosters then. Super frustrating because I'm with you. I thought they were controlling the game. They were probably the better team for 60 minutes. Sandon Smith started really well after that. They just really didn't sink him and Chad.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row now where I felt like they've had multiple opportunities, and sometimes it's the last pass. And you know, Teddy was involved in a couple of them in this one as well, where I thought maybe he should have just taken his medicine, but for whatever reason, it's just not working for them at the moment. So
it just looks out of sorts. Like even like from Crichton out on that left edge. Get him early ball. I don't know. Or give him and I think he needs to put away the offload. Crichton, and start running through some motherfuckers. You know?
Do you start doing that if you're Angus when you start to second guess whether we can score points the old way?
I just want him to get back. You can still fall into shape like he was last year. Just get the ball and just think run first. Because when you think offload, then you just you stop in the line. You get separation. You flick it out the back.
Yep.
And in yardage, you don't really want that. You know, I just need him getting the ball and carrying people on his back for like 20 metres. That's an inspirational run when we get you the ball, Gus. You know, like I don't really want an early ball, boom, separation, offload to Teddy, and then Teddy's around it fucks the setup. Where I want just early ball, even if just cop your licks, bang, hit it.
Right. They're looking a bit messy, aren't they?
Yeah. Like it looks really out of joint, and they can't really do that with the halves combination like that. They don't really square up that much. They don't really dig into the line. So he needs to give me early ball. You know, like if you get in the middle of the field, boom, boom, block shape, fucking outside in lines.
Straight at the 3-man, get a quick play the ball.
That's what he was doing last year when he was just terrorising the 3-man, the 4-man. They couldn't stop him. He needs to get back into that form.
Yeah, he's not the only one though, because I read down Nafahu White has easily been their most.
He's the dude.
He's their most consistent player.
No, I mean, Crichton needs to be that dude. Like he's their guy.
Well, I think Lindsay needs to step up. I think Spencer Leniu needs to step up. I think Rads is. It's been harder for Rads because he's been off the field for fucking 25 minutes with these HIAs and all that sort of stuff. So that's been frustrating. But yeah, Nafahu White's been the one. He's been the. I know it was a disappointing effort. He's the one who was on Tino, just lets him go through. But apart from that, everything
that would have sucked for him that last play because he was their best forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lindsay Collins, Lindsay Collins is a current Australian and Queensland rep.
Yeah.
There needs to be that's what it needs to look like. Spencer, New South Wales, Gus, New South Wales, come on. You got that team there. You got a team.
International. Yep.
You've got a team there. It's not a team that should be getting beaten by the Titans, even though the Titans would have something different to say there. But it's the Roosters, man.
Again, going back to the point of the Panthers, they're just a little bit rudderless at the moment, not getting to the end of their sets correctly, and the forwards
when
you argue that they're starting to check out already.
It sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks when your halves can't when you're getting good field position and you're doing the right things,
making
and then
half breaks.
End of fucking sets start to piss the middles off.
Yeah,
then the middles start playing one out, and it's just. Yeah.
Start playing solo ball. Yeah.
That's during games. That's what happens when you're during games. You just go, give me the fucking ball. And you can't do that in today's game.
No. Broncos 20 defeat the Dolphins 12. 2 weeks in a row now, a couple of Queensland rivals in a couple of derbies have really stuck it to the Broncos at home at Suncorp. And I said this might sound crazy, but those are the I reckon these types of wins for the Broncos right now, even though they're expected to win by more, I reckon they set you up better long term at the back end of the season. Do they want to be better? Yeah. Can they fine tune a few things? Yeah. I think the Broncos right now are going to be completely different in 10 weeks. But they got tough wins against a desperate Cowboys team and a desperate Dolphins team back to back, and they weathered the storm and they won ugly, but they got the win.
Yeah, these are the ones that this sets up a great year. If they lose in these games, it's like the back end of the year, fuck. When you're sitting at 7, 8, 9, 10 and you're struggling, and these are the games that they should win, and they only just win them, but they're ugly, but they're getting through.
Could be the difference between making top 4 as well.
100%.
3, 4, 5, 6.
This will be. These games, you'll be looking back on it, and this is what set the whole their defensive systems up, their effort plays, everything like that, because these two teams come to play. They come to play Suncorp, Dolphins and Titan, and North Queensland. They're local derbies, man.
Yeah.
And they're both up for it. They're trying to take Payne Haas's head off and Carrigan and everything. They stand up. And even Walsh, even Walsh, they're getting him. He's not playing his best, but he doesn't stop trying.
That was the positive, right? I thought he played really well, and the reason I thought he played well for all the things that we sort of critiqued him on last week, we were like, he's got to take his time. He doesn't have to try to win the game all in a couple of big moments, and I thought he did a good job of that. Kick receptions were good. Defense was good. Didn't try to force it. Didn't try to win it by himself. Played team football. And when the conditions suit, we'll see the best of Walsh in 2 or 3 weeks.
Pissed me off one bit when he took that fucking slide out. That wasn't team first. Get the ball, take your licks, and let us get out. When they had to do a 6 to go, when he had the ball,
at the back end of the game.
Yeah, dude, it's not game over. It's still winnable.
Do you reckon he could have grabbed that and slid?
100% he could have.
Stay in?
Yeah, easily.
Okay. I need to watch that back.
You got to watch the middles there. It's just what are you doing? You got to drop this out again and defend for another 1 or 2 sets maybe. Then come out of yardage for you. You got to be thinking, mate, just cop your licks.
I remember I need to watch it back to see if I thought
if he had his time again, I think he would have got the ball and just go back in.
The Walshy slide.
Yeah, don't do that, mate.
Okay,
you lose.
It looked like
you lose your middles, mate.
I'll find a good bit of content.
I'll tell you what loses his middles, and this is not sticking up for him. This is just, I reckon, there's that he should at least show some effort to get back in.
He was there. The effort was there.
But this is the part of Walshy that you worry about as well. Knocking it back into a player or something like that, which could be way worse and leads to a try. He's in the middle. So he's been ultra conservative and just gone out.
That's his thought process. I'll just take this out. Leave everything. Almost what are you fucking doing?
Have you got it, Luke?
So this is the clip of the week. Shout out to Hectic Fred.
Honestly, this just seemed unnecessary. Why did Reece Walsh just slide out? Is this brother lagging? Did his controller die or some shit? He wasn't even moving that fast. I know it's raining
No.
and the
He's
brakes
supposed
probably
to do
don't work.
that.
No, what, you're supposed to fucking get the ball.
Surely
Watch.
he could have just gone to ground.
Go to
This
ground.
is some 400 ping shit. This is connecting to the UK servers
This takes-
from fucking Australia,
No,
mate. You know what I mean?
Mate,
we're
look
far,
at
we're
that.
far, mate.
Hoz, have a closer
Like,
look.
this just seemed
Take
unnecessary.
the ball and come back
Why
in off
didn't
your
he just
right.
go straight
Dig
to
in.
ground? Why did he slide? Did he not want to get hit?
Nah.
Hoz, you got to have a close look at that, mate.
What are you
Can we
doing,
bring it over
mate?
here? Bring it over here. I need
This
a.
just seemed unnecessary. What?
Have a look.
Yeah, he had a chance. He had a yeah. I don't hate it as much as Mace does, and I don't think it's as hectic as Fred's making out.
He loves a clip.
Maybe I'm a Walshy lover. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
don't.
a Walshy sympathiser.
Just think you've made 54 tackles. And do you want to do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was just better.
Yep.
He made better decisions. I was just having a crack at that because I'm a middle and I don't want to do another set of 6.
Okay.
Just think about no. And I was with the James Graham and WEBKHE. You think this wasn't a fucking conversation for 20 minutes?
3 quadruple OG.
Three of the fucking middles going, what's he fucking doing that? Yeah, so, I think he was much better. He just needs to play himself back into good form, right? Just the timing's off a little bit. It's about a metre off. As I said, Shibasaki and Jasewski hasn't played with him before.
Yep.
Ben Hunt hasn't played. Ben Hunt don't square up like Ezra Man. He doesn't.
He doesn't take the line on as
yes,
quick. Yeah.
exactly. So, like, as a 4-man, you have to account for Ezra Man's left foot. Otherwise, he'll skin you. Hence,
Agreed.
the grand final. He'll get you 3 times. So once he comes back, this is all going to be building really nice for the Broncos.
I'll tell you what, Katoni's got a real presence about him, mate.
Yeah.
And this is high. Look, I know this is high praise and not an exact like for like, but I feel like he's got a bit of Steve Maddai presence about him where it's a different type of defender. Skivvy was the OG shoulders. Katoni's more of a ball on all, but it's the mindset, it's the aggression.
Yep.
And I think Katoni's the sort of guy, once he's in the locker room, when there's certain players and they're chucking the jersey on, if you're a right edge player, you're like, I feel a little bit better there with Katoni.
I just feel like I feel like he just can't get out of yet, because he's so worried about soft tissue injuries that it's sort of like, you got to get through about 3 or 4 weeks of playing where he'll go, all right, I can fucking go full tilt every time I get the ball. There's some moments there where he looked unbelievable early on. Then sometimes it's like, he sort of pulls back a bit, but that's
understandable.
It's very understandable because soft tissue injuries, when he's coming back from calves and all this sort of shit, the next injury could be a major injury.
Yep.
So just bring it back slowly. And they'll be telling him that. Like, you think you're coming back from a soft tissue injury at 100%. No, mate.
No.
Your body's still under stress.
They took their time. A credit to the depth.
good.
Dean Mariner was able to play there. Shibasaki, he's the story. Yeah. He's able to hold on to his spot, which allowed Madge to probably give Katoni an extra week.
Yes.
For the Dolphins, they need to unlock Hammer. So it's about 30 minutes.
The Hammer.
So it's about 30 minutes into the game where he hadn't got the ball. He's, I reckon, the best teams in the competition now are able to run shape coming out from their own half. Yeah. What I reckon they should do with Hammer, just to get him into the game if they're not getting good ball opportunities, is run that shift that teams do.
Cronulla?
All the good teams do it. They run it from, even South Sydney do it, right? But what they do, even with Dry Grey out the back. So they have the shape, it goes past they get to the edge. Because you've got 50 metres to work with, defensively you back off. And then Dry Grey just takes the metres. Dry Grey will make 25 metres with looking like he's going to pass dummy, and just dig in. I think Dolphins need to get Hammer into the game like that. And then once he gets his reps in, it's like we'll go back to NFL again. It's like getting the wide receiver a screen pass. Give him something nice and early in the game. Yep. And then later in the game, when he scores a big touchdown or he hasn't got his touches in the red zone.
But I don't look at it like he's not getting involved. And even when he's involved, he don't look like it's the Hammer of old.
A little bit off.
He's either injured or he don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like some of those runs, we know exactly how fast Hammer is. And it's very evident when you're watching going, he's not running that hard.
Well, he said this.
I'm like, has he got a hamstring or some injury or an injury that we don't know of? Like
he said in the preseason on some form of content that I've seen that he is mindful of not going to top speed because he's more susceptible to soft tissue injuries with his speed and power
I get it.
And the fatigue in the game.
I've heard him say that, but I'm like, I've watched you play for the last 3 years in Origin and Australia, and I know what you can do.
Yeah,
and that ain't it.
You need more.
You need to see it. Like we've all watched it. This is why it's so like everybody's talking, what's wrong with Hammer? What's wrong with Hammer? Is he injured? Is he this? Is he that? Is he like, it's weird, man. Because like even when he gets the ball, it's probably 6 out of 10 that he's running with vigor. You know, like he wants to bust the line and all this kind of stuff. Usually he's so hard to tackle. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused
with Walsh. Walsh is still getting in there. He's front loading, trying to have a crack at you. Yep. He might make a mistake or two, but he'll die trying.
Yeah,
I'd
even
rather
though
him
it's
see
not pretty,
that.
you can see the intent from
He's
Walsh.
running. He will make a mistake trying. But I'm like, I need a Hammer on that level.
I'll tell you who's trying too much. Herbie. So I love it. Like you can tell he's passionate. He wants to win. He's getting involved. I think sometimes it's at a detriment to the shape that they're trying to run. Like he's getting in for scoots 20 metres out from the line. Now that's frustration. And that's like the Reece Walsh situation where you'd rather a player be too keen than not keen at all. But he's just not there sometimes for shape because he's either super fatigued because he's had 2 carries in the same set and they've been for like 25 metres with tackle breaks. Like he wants it bad, but he's got to find that balance of being involved while also holding shape because he is a left centre.
Yeah, and a strike centre.
You
know, like he needs to get those one-on-ones and like, he's at that point now. He's like, he's the marquee player. He's the face of the whole franchise. Like he needs to get, I don't mind it when he's getting 20 touches, but he needs to understand when and where. So when we do shift to you, like I need something else.
You're in a position.
Yeah. And the left side back row there, they're just all over the shop. It looked like they just really can't score.
You know what the thing is, and this is like the footy guides when you're in this position and it's hard to get out of it, the 40-20 kick from Katoa, they missed it. Selwyn Cobbe steps on the line. He ends up returning it. And
that was a big point, wasn't it?
That was huge. It was maybe...
How do you miss that? Yeah. And how can you not go back to that?
There you go. That's a good question.
Yeah, how can you not go back to that when they replay and just say, all right, let's stop the play right now and go back to this play?
Yeah. That's a couple of times it's happened this year.
With technology and stuff like that, they can see that. They can look at it straight away, whistle in the ear, straight to the ref and say, he was out.
He was out.
Go back to the play. You're talking about 30 seconds of play.
I think it was 14-6 at the time.
That's what I'm saying. This is a very pivotal time in the game where this is what technology is all for. Yep. Things like this. Don't fucking miss it. You don't miss it when there's a shoulder to the head and you bring the play back a minute later.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on, man.
It's like they don't have one job, but fuck, it's the main job.
He's out. He's clearly out. So if they had scored off that play,
they scored a couple of minutes later with Shibasaki.
So that was a different set of 6. So once it changes over, but if they score from that play there, it gets brought back, doesn't
14-12,
it? It gets brought back.
Yep, 14-12 to the Dolphins if they're able to score in that position.
It's just that's frustrating from the refs. You've got to be onto that. And there's places in the game where it's just okay, ref, he's out, done. Yep. Do your job.
The Dragons 14 defeated the Storm 8. I wrote down in this one.
Hard game, man.
Lukey was texting me. I've got a little stat. This is between us that's not something I want to put out into the ethos, but I've got a stat for you. I'll tell you later. Anyway, but
not on TV.
No.
There you go.
This because this game had the makings of a Dragons upset. A Flano coach team that's 0-2 that went into the bye just completely sprayed his entire lineup and mainly his halfback. Putrid conditions, which suited the Dragons. Nostrada Jubilee, rank field to play at. I hated playing at Jubilee. 3:30 kickoff with Blocker and Kevin commentary. Peter Goff reffing. And the icing on the cake, Casey Badger, video referee. This had upset written all over.
If you had told me this before the game, I'm back in fucking Dragons.
It wasn't until, and by the way, I think Casey got the call right on the Ali Katoa thing, but at the back end of the game when the result was going their way, I was just like,
wow.
There was so much shit that made me, like, I should have gone, you know what, Dragons are going to win this.
And that's when I text you.
Yeah, and you text me.
I thought that as well. I was like, fuck, this reeks of an upset.
If you can figure it out, comment in the comments.
Yeah, okay. Let us know in the comments why
you think. It's the Kevy Walters. It's that. It's the cheese and Kevy combo. It fucking threw me off. I had to watch this because I was in Cairns that day, so I missed this one.
Yeah, it's a good miss.
I had to watch a hell of a lot of TV.
Don't worry, it was a good miss.
I had to watch it. It was a fucking hard game.
Oh, yeah, you had to watch it back.
I had to watch it back in replay, knowing full well that St. George have won this. I like watching it, like pretty much nearly live. I'm probably about 5 or 10 minutes back sometimes, but not fucking 5 hours or a day. I watched it yesterday. I was like, oh, you're killing me.
I don't really
Storm didn't
mind.
play bad.
I think there was a low-scoring game in the Roosters Warriors a couple of weeks ago, and people were sort of hammering. That was actually a pretty decent quality game.
This was quality.
But there was
But like St George showed up. I could see, like, just say when you know when you know the score to something, and then you watch it in a replay, you're like, I can see how the Storm lost. I can see how the Dragons got up with this because they were up for this game. They're hard to beat there. They're a messy team, and then you throw all these little elements in there. They're going to get it.
Speaking of Messi, Cheesy's not the prettiest fullback in the world, but Gutho's all effort, isn't he?
Mate, he adds something where you can't really what's that word? You can't sell it into, you know what I mean? The talk and the communication and the spirit that he brings, he can't quantify what he brings.
That's it.
Can't quantify what he actually brings. Don't worry about if he's lost a metre or two. It's the communication in the line prep and everything like that, and his timing out the back is just fucking... This is experience. It's what a 200 gamer gives you.
He would be a pain in the ass for opposition fans to watch as well. People don't like Gutho. He's also...
He's all heart too.
He's all heart as a player. He's very aggressive to the referees as well. Hates Peter Goff too. Him and Peter Goff, I reckon...
They're going to fight. They're going to have a celebrity fight.
They've got the biggest rivalry from coach to referee to captain in the competition. He agitates people. He's good for getting in the ref's ear about a decision that he missed. But fuck, he just keeps.
I think he would annoy people. I think I just love Gutho because
we know him.
We know him personally, and I've known him since a young kid when we were at Manly, and I'm like, he's a great human.
Yeah.
And so I never ever see past that, and I'm like, whatever. But then you can see. But then I look at it now, a different perspective. I'm like, yeah, if I didn't have that 1 year with Gutho, I'd probably fucking hate him. But I love you, kid. Just keep doing your thing.
Speaking of kids, shout out to Flane. He's slowly unearthing a couple of local juniors. So to start the year, young Gerringong Junior by the name of Hamish Stewart. He's had about 3 or 4 games in first grade, and this new
I love it, eh?
Dylan Egan.
Yeah, the blondie, the blonde kid.
I think he's got a bit of red about him.
Yeah, he's milky.
Yeah, milky. Yeah. Strawberry blonde.
He looks like he's about it.
He's a goer.
Yeah.
So this is how you start to reinvigorate the fan base down in the South Coast. Yes. You bring in a couple of local juniors from the Gerringong. And they're all effort.
Famous Mick Cronin.
Yep, Mick Cronin era. And they're all effort players, and they get the crowd pumped up, and then that's when you start getting some dormant South Coast fans.
Illawarra.
You start getting them back within the fold. And these two guys, I thought they were good. Hamish Stewart, Egan's first game, they were really good. As for the Storm, for Wishart, if he's going to sign somewhere else as a half, because I don't think there's a world in which he stays and
he's not a half.
Is a 14. He's got to figure out, like, he's got the one part of it that I loved is that he's run first mentality, and that's despite playing in the 70s, like, all right, my running game's my best strength. But he had no plan B. There was no connection between him and Munster or him and Pappenhausen or him and Harry. After he had 18 carries, mate, for like nearly 200 metres.
I did not notice that.
That's the K when you're on the front foot.
Yep.
But not when you're down and you're trying to chase points. You've got to be able to come up with some plays, right? That's where he's missing.
You're not playing lock.
Yeah.
I think what I saw there was like I looked at it and went, look, this is another game that I missed. How the fuck did Melbourne lose this? Right? You only got one player out, Jerome Hughes.
Narcissus
I know,
as well.
I know, but like not to the spine, right? To the spine, it's like you should get the job done. A Melbourne team should get this job done. I clearly look at the 7, and he was involved in some very big things that cost him the game. Try from dummy half in defence. The drop ball coming, it's just and the momentum switches, and I was like, ooh, that hurts because everyone else was up for this game. Couple of little blights there, and I was just like, fuck, give Dragons hope.
Bally gave him a passer after the game because he hadn't prepared in that position since he'd been there. I think he'd only filled in for money on the left, which is a slight difference. But I think I think Wishy's a better 9 than he is a 7 and 6.
100%. He's a middle.
Yeah,
he's a middle where he doesn't have to organise anything. You know what I mean? Like he's a player, right? There's something there, but he's definitely not a starting 7. Not for any other club. I don't think he is. Did he come through as a 7? Or is he just like, I think he's a lock. I think he's like a makeshift lock. He'll turn himself into that sort of Cam Murray sort of player because he's got that skill set. He's tough. And he's
like
got
a Connor Watson, Connor Watson
like he can play that. He's it's a different beast playing 7.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they manage to convince him to stay, I think the Storm really need him in that role because you know how everyone always talks about Cheese not being a starting an 80-minute hooker. I don't think it suits Harry as well. Like I'm already seeing 4 weeks in and Harry and they've had a bye. I don't think it's good for the longevity of Harry Grant to be playing 80 minutes. I think he should be a 60. I think they should find ways to give him a spell. They used to give him a spell when obviously Cameron was there and then obviously Cheese. But they've got to find a way to give Harry a spell. Maybe they've got to look at recruiting.
He's more explosive than people give to him. like Cam Smith could play 80 easily every week in, week out because he was never explosive, right? Yeah. He was just the best game manager and the dictator of all time, right? He's that guy. You play at Cam Smith's pace, that's it. And he'll conduct everything and everyone's on the same page where Harry's explosive. He wants to get out. He wants to hit. And he reminds me a little Danny Badiris, right?
Yes, he's more like Bedsy.
He's more like Bedsy than he is to Cam Smith.
Agreed.
Right? So Bedsy was explosive. Bedsy could still get out there 80 minutes and everything like that. But this is a different beast right now. Game's quicker, right? The 6 to go sets and he's getting spotted up a fair bit through the middle. You're trying to get at Harry a lot. He's involved in like 50 to 60 tackles a game.
There you go. I'm thinking about this now because that's a great comp. When did Bedsy do his best work? 1-2 punch with Craig Wing.
Exactly.
Like Bedsy
Kirk Gidley off, like wherever wingy, like whatever the position was where Bedsy would get on there, zing, the ball like 20, 30 metres to Joey and it was great to watch. But Bedsy would front load everything and he'd get a rest the back end of the first half or maybe 20 minutes, depending on how we're going in an Origin game or a test, he'd play the whole 40, maybe play 15, 20, and then give the rest. Or if he's if we're on the back foot in the middle, Bedsy's off with maybe 5 to 10 to go. Put Wingy on. Put Gids on. Speed the ruck back up because those guys weren't warranted to pass the ball in an Origin or a test because it's fucking free for all the last 10.
Play the ball, go.
Yeah, you just go. You didn't even look like passing. Wingy wouldn't pass it anyway. I love you, Wingy.
All right, the Cowboys 30 defeated the Raiders 20. The skill level on some of the plays in this game I thought was really top shelf. Like conditions look really hot. Jake Clifford.
Yeah.
There he is
again, eh?
He has everything in the bag to be an NRL half.
Yeah.
But the thing for me, look good in this game, I think he lacks belief in himself. I think that's the way you unlock him. He can have an error in a game that he can completely go into his shell, or he can have a bad game that really affects him for games moving forward. Yeah. But skill set, what doesn't he do? Like kicks, got a really good long kicking game, chases the hell out of kicks really well for Tom Dearden. Okay defender, not great, but okay. Good body size.
Got everything.
Looks like he's trimmed down on the mutters a little bit because he's a little bit overweight.
Highly touted when he was a young kid, when he was coming through schoolboys. But it takes a lot. This is why I love when you talk to Gus and all these other guys. Give it time. Like he's probably in the prime of his life now. Well, I think he's like 25, 26. I think that's about the time where they start going, I figured this shit out. Had a little stint overseas, comes back.
27.
Yeah,
27.
This is right. At the right time for Clifford to go, all right, I've fucking got to help Dearden here. I can get these guys over the line. Nano look pretty good. Helps when you got good back rolls. But that try when he come off, a shit little play and then he comes off the back and just did. And they underestimate how strong he is, right? Because otherwise you would have thrown him into the fucking he was running direct. I knew exactly where he's going. He should have been fucking lifted. Try.
He sneaks up on you, doesn't he?
Next one, jumps over like he's fucking plugger, fucking Gary Ablett. Like he's Gary Ablett, just jumps over the fullback, try.
No, what's Plugger's name? Tony Lockett. Tony Lockett.
He's fucking, or Gary Ablett and just jumped on his shoulders. Junior as well. He looked like that. And I was just like, where the fuck did this come from? It looked like he didn't play for 30 minutes. Yeah. And then he does a couple of little things and bang, bang, game over.
He's got X Factor, mate.
Yeah, he does. He goes, he has a crack. The Raiders were in it at that stage.
Yep. Shout out to Tommy Dearden and Ruben Cotter. It's been a tough start to the season for the Coast Skippers, but they emptied the tank. They have been emptying the tank, but there's just I don't know, there's a part of their leadership that they still need to develop, but fuck, They gave everything.
Tamalolo was outstanding.
Jace's
He
presence.
was really good. I don't even care about how many meters he made.
No.
But like, it's just that the post-contact meters when you're dragging a couple of people, the big boy's back, right?
Especially
then
being
Cotter can
Papa
get
and
off the
Tapane
back.
and that.
Yeah, you know, he come out. He's their leader, mate. And Din can just put the icing on it again. Nanai was fucking outstanding. I think
Looks
that was his best
motivated,
game.
eh?
Looks fit. Looks fit. It's like they've gone, you lose a couple of kilos and you get back in the side, looks sharp. Bateman looked good, where I thought Bateman was just stunting the growth of the attack. And I'm like,
agreed.
he just played in a fucking ratty way that he does. Just tough, uncompromising off little drop plays and palming people off, niggles, all that sort of shit. And I'm like, Nanai, where do you fit into this?
Just quickly on Bateman. Raiders can throw you off your game because they fuck around with you.
He was that guy.
He's the triple OG.
Yeah, he was the guy who started that shit.
Ricky used to get him to do that shit 10 years ago.
And
so he
did
knew
it.
how to play it.
He knew exactly. And that's when I looked at the game and went, oh no, this is gonna fucking go not the Raiders' way.
And you know how there's a moment where this is how he was playing chess, not checkers. So they got a bit fired up. There was a bit of a push and shove. They expected probably Bateman to go off, and he brushed it, and he just walked away.
Bigger man. I'll be the bigger man and walk away. Walk away.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So he just played the smart game, right? Because he knew Ricky would be thinking he's going to be fucking grubby, blah, blah, blah. Didn't play it. Didn't show. Yeah, he's playing chess, not checkers. Ricky thought he could fucking rattle him a little bit. They started cheeky, this. Didn't buy into it. So that means the Cowboys didn't buy into their shit as well, because sometimes they back him up because he does start a lot of stuff. They have to get in and back your boy up, right? And then I was just thinking, they looked like the team that should look like. And this saved Todd Payton as well. Big Rod was under the pump up there.
For sure.
And if you lose 4 in a row, it's nearly grounds for a fucking sacking. I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but the noise would have got louder.
To be thereabouts,
you know, so if they can go on a little bit of a run, they've got the team there. They showed me there. I'm like, it's still a dangerous team.
They got Panthers at Combank.
Yeah,
that's winnable.
Right now, I'm thinking they go down and they nearly beat them. We'll get to that on Thursday. But I'm just like, the Cowboys look good.
Yeah.
Like Drinky looked good, didn't overplay his hand. But I was really impressed with Nanai, the way that he was attacking the game. That's a highlight for me to see him come back and take the criticism and take getting dropped. Because he's an Australian and a Queensland player, right?
Yeah.
So the ego is there. Everyone's got an ego. I'm not saying he's just out of control or anything like that. I'm saying anything like that. But to get hit like that, to go back to reserve grade and then sit back, reflect on it, and it just builds resilience. It builds all these things, and you come back and be a better player, then you'll be a better fucking person for it, and that whole club will be better for it if Nanai's buying in.
I've been dropped a number of times in my career, and I'm nowhere near the level of Nanai. I'll tell you what, the first couple of games is so hard because you're thinking about everything but the game. You're thinking about your perception of how you're being viewed. Are you doing enough? It takes about 3 or 4 games before you start to get your confidence back. Yeah. So credit to Nanai. He started in 2 games. I thought he looked like a bit of a shell of himself against the Broncos, but he was still, the effort was there, and he looked like he went after it. Yeah. He was motivated in this game.
And now he's chasing the ball. He's not staying on one side of the ruck. He can attack both, you know. Like, I'm like, that's the Nanai I want to see. Because he has skill set, like one of the best back rowers in the game.
Yeah. And Toddy Payton highlighted his defence. He said his fucking contact was, if he gets that right, like offensively, he's the best.
Because, you know, sometimes when we saw him when he was at the top of his game, he'd be like, some games you're like, does he fucking... He just lost the plot in defence. And then sometimes like he'd be just going bang and hitting everybody. So there's no doubt that he can hit and he can defend really good. It's just little lapses in his game where he takes little things off. It's not like it's just something in his brain where he just takes little plays off and it fucking costs the team. So
big time.
Good to see him
for the Raiders, they've got a whole heap of talent, but still, you know, they've lost a number of first graders and games in the last couple of years, so the maturity's still there. Like Hudson Young and Horsford, like it's probably fair to say they're their vets now, but they can still be erratic, those two, right?
The bra can just dance around like he's Sonny Bill. The redheaded Sonny Bill. I think he thinks he's that. He's like that. He's hitting and spinning, jumping from each side of the ruck because he's got a high skill set.
Yeah, he does.
But I think he's gotten the green light to sort of do what he wants.
He did a little bit
sometimes
too much.
You can overplay it.
Him and Huddy Young.
I need the big red just to be off the 9 sometimes.
Yep.
Smacking blokes and then coming off the line in line speed, a little bit of ball playing here and there, but like the footwork and that needs to be fucking put in the back sometimes, right?
Yep.
The offload sometimes. It's not
the offload, if it sticks in those conditions, is a huge plus. If it doesn't, in those it looked fucking hot up there.
Yeah,
apparently it was like 33, 34 degrees.
The humidity's a killer.
The humidity, and they had a
90%,
drinks break.
man.
If it doesn't stick, you can be under the pump.
Yeah.
KO Weeks and Savage are also prime examples of just a couple of young players who have got so much potential, but they do come up with rookie errors. KO Weeks, for whatever reason, Ricky's come out and backed him. He started the year slowly. I don't know what it is. I think maybe he's the opposite of Reece Walsh, where he's probably not inserting himself enough, maybe more like Hammer. And he's lacking a bit of confidence. But and Savage, Savage has got to. I love Savage. You know, I love Savage. Defensively, he got skinned early on. They went at his edge in those yardage. Cowboys were doing it from halfway, and then he's got to pass on the inside to Owen Paddy, and fucking we got a tied ball game.
Game. You're going like you game on.
Yeah, game on.
You're back. Like, and I think the Raiders will have some momentum there.
Yeah.
Just a draw and pass. Paddy scores. Yeah. It's not like he doesn't score.
Well, even if he passes early to Paddy, Paddy can then link back up.
Anything but what he did.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if he's gonna take him on, I'm all for it.
Yes.
Take him on.
But he was caught in between.
Yeah, he's just like, mate, I'm all for backs like that. Take him on. Just take him on the outside. Go for it, son.
Because you can skin Drinky too.
Yeah.
Drinky's been known to be skinned.
And he got him.
Yeah.
And he had 5 or 6 metres to go for it. And I think he would have got him.
He was in between.
Fucking got him. He was like, oh, and that's, you know, when to pull the trigger. I'm all for him going, but like, make the right play at that time. And it was just like, that's immaturity, and that's, you know, he's in the middle of backing himself and not. And it's like, too late.
I want to see more of that Owen Paddy, I think.
Yeah, he goes all right, I think.
Goes
got
all right.
big raps on him.
It's a weird situation. Tom Starling has been playing really good to start the season. I think Owen Paddy's a better long-term option for sure. I think he's got a real future there. But they just signed Brayley as well.
No,
I feel like that's going to...
They don't need a 9 to change the game.
Yeah, it's going to get a little bit messy.
Yeah, the Raiders, that was a game that could have been won.
Yep.
They still have Big Tarpane and Big Papa.
Horsepower.
One of them is going to miss the game, I think. Yeah?
I think...
Is it Big Papa? No?
No, I think Papa is well, I think he can get a fine if he pleads early guilty plea.
Huddy Young was outstanding, as you said, like can be erratic, you know? That's a really good try saver. Who got him there at the end? Fuck. I forget, but it was a saver. It was a good line.
I think it might have been Purdue.
Yeah. He looked like a player now. There's a player there. He looked good. It's just like it's going to make a couple of games like that.
Off.
Yeah. There's a player there, and I'm like, they were carving there. The right edge for Canberra early was copping a absolute
He's
hammering.
5 kilos and another preseason off being not only a really good first grader.
One day.
Yeah, he
I reckon. 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Something in there.
All right, the Bulldogs 20 defeat the Sharks 6. Mace, we talked about this at the start. This is the most impressive win I've seen in the Serrato era.
Yeah, best win, I think.
Not only do they have $2 million worth of cap on the sideline, outside of Critter, those two players are arguably their most influential players. Yep. And I still believe, even though they didn't look great, that the Sharks are a genuine threat for the premiership. Yep. I think this premiership's starting to look more up for grabs than we probably anticipated. And now I believe for the first time the Dogs are legit and they can win the comp.
I agree. This was our best win since the Serraldo era has taken off. All because the Sharks were up for this.
Yep.
And they're a top 4 team. You can clearly see it. Yep. Shark Park Saturday night, lights are on, let's go.
Everything's in favour of the Sharks.
Yep. Bulldogs, no Burton, no kick out. Yeah, we should get these guys. Play bully ball through the middle. You're fucking school. Absolutely bullied by the Bulldogs. That's what happened. Max King, mad props to Max King. He was outstanding. The middle man, everybody like that, like just Fafita, all these guys. Saluk Fafita, Marnie. Like we will attack in numbers, right? Fanua Blake was still outstanding. The Juice was up for it. Kafusi was up for it. They were all up for it.
The Sharks were up for it.
Niokora, fucking everybody was up for it. But this is what happens when you pressure Nico Hines and you pressure Braden Trindle. You don't get any space on the edge because we hunt, and we're talking about hunting coming up straight and then boom, get off the blocks and everybody is hunting for Braden Trindle. You got to pass a little bit earlier. You know what I mean? But that's what pressure does. You want to let him dig into your line like he did against South. You'll get that player. You'll get that out of most halves. They've got that in their bag.
Yeah.
Right. But you have a little bit of pressure. Someone's going to crack your ribs. You pass a little bit earlier. Same as Nico. You're off your game. Then it puts the back rowers off, and then then your centers and your wingers are just all theirs is timing off you off the 7. So we're very disruptive. It was great to see, and it was relentless for 80 minutes. 80 fucking minutes we put together.
mate, you didn't stop all the way down to the
Kennedy was out.
Tupanua hit right at the end.
Tupanua just didn't stop. That's what I mean. That was the most relentless win that we've had for years.
I think he might.
He might see a couple of weeks just for that.
I think he's going to get a week for it. I don't think it was crazy bad.
No, it was, but he didn't have any rap. He was just like
it was coming. He just because he hit him so hard.
He was on a fucking mission.
But I can see he was on a mission.
Whoa,
because he was poor against the Eels.
Yeah, I know. He had fucking. There's a thing back in the day. You used to call it penis fingers, right? So anyone who dropped balls at training, so you'd have a shirt, right? It was pink, and like so. Just say if you drop the ball so many times within the week, so there's two hands, they were penis fingers on the hands. There's the fingers. So this said that you had really bad hands. So Jamie Feeney and Roy Asatasi used to win it most of the time. Then Roy got but besides at the start of his career, like 2001, 2002, 3, and then he just developed really good hands. So Jamie Feeney, we always call penis fingers because he used to wear it like non-stop nearly every week. And then the group chat when we saw Tupanua, we're like, Jimmy, have you been coaching Tupanua? Little tips like that. And Roy, have you been talking to Tupanua because he's been fucking wearing penis fingers? So it was hilarious. And then I love how he would have got a roasting.
Yep.
From last week's video, and because he's a better player than that. And this is what you see.
Yeah.
And I love that he was a man on a mission, and he bullied him, man. Like it hit on Toby Rudolph.
Yeah.
Fuck. The Dolph just went, what was that?
But the Dolph was up for it as well.
The Dolph was always up for it. Yeah. He's a machine, mate. He doesn't give a shit. But I mean, I was just
there was some good contact through the middle.
Some big contact for Noah Blake. You can see when he just hit right at the end there.
He was getting
frustrated, but I thought he was their best forward. You can't, there's no real plan for that guy. You just got to fatigue him. He's going to get his meters. He's going to get his 160, 200 meter plus. What do you do with that guy?
I've watched the Bulldogs closely to start the competition. They've done such a good job. There's only 2 people they haven't been able to contain. Everyone else, they've done a good job. Tino, round 2, and Adam Fanua-Blake so far, where they gang tackle and they get 3 in the tackle and they drive him back. Adam Fanua-Blake and Tino are the only ones that go into the line and go, douche.
Salmon wore that a couple of times.
Yeah.
The Salmon, if he's going to start games with that hair, you need to fucking pump someone. Because I think Fanua-Blake would have went, all right, well, who am I running at? Who's got blonde hair? Just straight. And it was like a light bulb. It was like a bulb. It was like you're a ship coming in to sea and like, where's the fucking... Where's the light? Where's the lighthouse? He was like a lighthouse. So Fanua-Blake was just going boom, footwork into him. What do you do? Like, and you got middles. You got Salmon, Reed, Marnie, Max King, and Fafita.
Harry Hayes.
Harry Hayes is a gun.
Your boy Todd.
Yeah, Todd. They're all starting to make their mark in first shape. But like with Fanua-Blake, you can't really like hit that guy. You just got to manage it. You got to get in front, get like real tight grips on the ball so there's no offload. You're going to get that late footwork, and then whoever's on his inside, so just so I'm running at you, whoever's there is getting elbows in the chest. And that happened to be Salmon because you'd be going at Marnie or going at Max. You come up, boom. So if you get caught on your heels, you're going on your back. You got to know where he's going because he's off both feet. It's fucking disgusting what he does, and it's so late. You think you're going to get the tackle in. You end up on the legs or fucking missing the whole thing completely. So you got to he's
still thinking about the lighthouse.
Yeah, he's the lighthouse.
The weak-gutted lighthouse.
The lighthouse. Where do I run? Boom, straight at your head. But everyone else, Salmon just put his body in front. You have to in the starts of those games. You're going to have to wear those hits. Yep. And then you took care of Kafusi and everyone else didn't really do that much damage. Nikora didn't do that much damage. Teague Wilton didn't do that much damage. They did a really good
job on the back
McInnes was up for it. He led their line speed. Yep. He was coming after us. We managed him. Their bench was strong. Talakai, he got a head knock off Tupanua.
Yeah.
Damn, that was just like 2 Tongans going at it.
The difference between your energy and the Sharks' energy, Sharks were trying to do it one out.
Yeah.
You were gang tackling.
Numbers.
They were aggressive defensively, but they would go good contact. Someone would fall off the contact. Bulldogs would get a quick play of the ball and they'd go.
You know what's outstanding? Kurt Mann again.
He's good, mate.
We're off the bench. He's so strong.
He's the ultimate compliment.
Hang on. That just went off.
All good? By the way, this is the ultimate compliment, right? Kurt Mann, outstanding. Kurt Mann. Harry Hayes,
the
really good. Max King's one of the rare players that leaves the Melbourne Storm system and gets better at a different club.
Because he's young.
But Like, I don't think the value for them on the market is as high as it would be at the Bulldogs, because I think they're just really bought in, and Cameron Serrato's put together a really good system and they're all thriving in it.
100%. And they've all bought in.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years ago, it was rare. You know, like everyone sort of didn't really get what he was talking about. You're just like, defensive systems. It was like fucking Penrith. Come here. You got Penrith players, right? You got the best. Like, he's had those kids over there for 10 years. Ever since SG Ball and Flegg, and grown with them together.
First grade together.
Into first grade, right?
Yeah.
And Ciro was the guy out there, created that whole defensive system, right? And then comes here, you don't have Liam Martin. Like, you don't have all these guns, the top three in their position, Fish Harris, Leota, Liam Martin, Sorensen, you know, he had Kickow and all those kind of guys.
He's had to change a completely different pack, hasn't he? Like, it's a different type of style.
And they're fucking all bought in.
Yeah.
Now, every single one of them go after it. You know, like their movement patterns and everything like that 2-3 years ago were not like this. So that's Travis Tumar and that's Ruben, like changing their patterns in movement, because you've got to be able to move fast. You got to be able, you got to be fit, and you got to be, your movement patterns need to be on point, agility, everything like that. So it's a whole fucking thing that you got to buy into, and communication and everything like that. And
I don't think it's Rubes, it's more Tuma.
It's definitely not Rubes. It's Travis. All Travis. Rubes just stands there with bare feet.
Love you, Rubes.
Love you, Ruby. Yeah, so I think everybody's bought into it, and I'm like, that was the thing I saw. That was just like, wow, all right, we don't have kicks or presto. We're going into this game, and we still get the Sharks 20-6.
Oh, Birdo, sorry, not Presto. You didn't have.
Yeah, so I was just thinking of Presto because I was going to give him a rap.
Yeah,
what a fucking gun.
He is.
Glad they moved him. So I'm glad they moved him from the right to the left, because he's naturally a left side back row, because he's a left arm carry.
Yeah.
Runs those lines really well. So that was a smart thing to do. Curran could just do the right side hard work, you know what I mean? Hard in defence, kick chase, all that sort of stuff. He played outstanding.
Yeah.
Preston was the man that runs those brilliant lines on the edge.
So here's my point to Preston. He's not like the other guys. His value on the market would be huge right now if he is to hit it. He is a real player, mate. And I agree. I think he's a better left edge back row, but there's a guy called Viliami Kikau that plays there. So he does his best for the team on the right, and I think it gives them better balance as well.
Yep. It's a very well balanced side, and that's what it is. Our benches
team
are
first
coming
mentality,
off.
that too.
Everything. Even like our little boy Reed Marnie, who we'll have a chat about.
Okay,
like, what the
before I get
fuck
to the
was he
negative,
thinking?
before we get to the negative, I just want to
It's not negative. It's dumb.
I just want to talk about Critter. Love his demeanour. I love his body language. He's a top tier captain in every way. Even his communication with the referee during very tense, heated exchanges. Something that I'm really big on. I talk about captaincy all the time. I talk about communication with the refs. I think it's so important. And he won't get the credit for it, because I don't think a lot of people see it, but just exchanges and how he handled situations, huge Critter fan. All right, Reed Marnie, he's the opposite, and he needs to cut this shit out. I love Reedy. I love him, but he does shit because he's got that fucking he's got that small man syndrome that he has to go. I feel like he has to go into games with a certain mindset, right?
Yeah, he does.
People are going to run at me. People don't respect me, all that sort of stuff. So I got to go after it. Love it. That's fine. That Atkinson is fair game on the ground. You can go and hit Atkinson. You just go too far on occasions.
The ribs.
Hit him in the ribs, hit him in the back, whatever it may be. You can get on and give him good contact without being a fucking grub because you're so good. He was excellent in that game. So I'm watching him for 60 minutes going, fucking love Reedy. He's about it. He's tough. I even feel like this year, I don't know if Serrato's had a chat to him.
Yes.
I feel like he's pulled it back a little bit on the niggle. So I'm like, I like this Reedy. This is the Reed, can Reedy be pushing, like if he plays like this, the way he was hitting middles, and then he does this at the end of the game, I'm going, that shit was what you did to Manly in the prelim or in the finals game that cost you. You get that shit out of your game, you're an elite 9.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
you don't need it. You're so tough without it. It's not required. So that's the frustrating bit. And again, met him a couple of times. He's like, Guffo thing, you're a fucking legend.
Yeah.
But
he's good dude.
I watch games on a more, because and Cicero was fucking frustrated too. They went up to him in the box and he talked about discipline, and I 100% reckon he's talking about Reedy. So,
well, that's the thing. That's the little things that he has tried to get out of his game. But I'm all for jumping on Atkinson. He's fair game.
Fair game.
Don't hit him in the head.
Don't shoulder barge him on the head.
And this is the perception of some things and how the refs rule on stuff. If that was Waria Hargraves doing this to Nico Hines,
he
would have moved him fucking 4 meters and it would have looked awful.
Sent off.
Sent off. It's a sent off. It's a send fucking decision, right?
Yeah.
So because it didn't look bad and Reedy just hits him with his fucking headgear and no one fucking moves.
He just missed.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah.
But like if I'm coming in on someone like that who's little, you're getting moved, right? Because you're dead weight and I'm coming in trying to really fucking get you on your ribs or something. I'm not going to go for your head. But to say if I did that or Hargraves did that or Marco O'Mealy or some big fucker like WEBKHE or something like that, you're getting moved and it looks awful because it's contact to the head. Get off.
Jared's 100% getting 4 weeks for that exact same thing.
But it's nearly
100%.
it's like because you look at it and that's why like only because it's Reedy I'm just sitting there going nah it's cool and I love you but if that was someone else and just say Fanua Blake did that to Reedy, how bad would that look? It's a perception what you see, but because it's a little guy on a little guy and no one gives a shit, little man on little man, big man on big man crime is terrible, right? Big man on little guy, dead. You're off.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But, just as you said, get it out of your game, mate, and you'll be an elite 9 because we need him.
Love you, Reedy.
Do they need a backup hooker spot at Queensland this year?
No, he would require an injury to Harry to get a
He's
shot.
a starter.
Because they've got Ben Hunt on the floor.
Yeah, you start.
And Tommy
Ben Hunt's still going to play? Is he?
I don't think he would have ruled himself out.
Who'd you say, sorry?
Ben Hunt.
Ben Hunt's thereabouts. No, he hasn't. No, you don't have to look on that. He hasn't. No one's ruled. No,
I think they want redemption. If they don't get it, they don't get it. But if they do, they'll be playing.
You know what I said to myself though straight after? So I thought Kawiero scored that first try too. Ronaldo Mulatai went up and competed for the ball. I don't reckon he touched it, and I thought it was a tough call. But whatever. This game was always going to come down to a few 50-50s, and the Sharks are better to get through that. Then they have that dropout. And they attempt to kick it out, and they play the ball, and no one's there at dummy half. I went, ooh.
That was bad. It happened a couple of times on the weekend.
Yeah, twice.
It happened last
Tigers
night.
game. The Warriors.
Get to the game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crucial times too.
Yeah, both times.
Whose fault is that? Like, you're trying to get a quick play of the ball with the ball. Yeah, like get up, but like sort of.
It's hard for the guy
it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard for the guy playing the ball because he's got to like.
Can he grab it? Can you play it to yourself?
So Taruvan made the break, and if he just got the puck, shout out to Chance to Clogstad. We'll get that. Anyway,
Nickel.
But yeah, once I seen that, I was like, ooh, they're a little bit off. They're a little bit rattled.
Yep.
And then they lost Siffer straight away when he come on, and then Kawiero, once he went off, I was like,
what did Hero go off for?
Hammy. Yeah, he's going to miss a couple of weeks. Too. He's been strong to start the seasons, and plus Siffer's the guy that fills in for him if anything happens.
And that was the guy on.
Atkinson.
So Atkinson come in and then that's why Critter got him. Yeah,
Critter dusted him.
But Cherry played outstanding as well.
Yeah, Cherry was really
that try that he scored. I mean, it's coming. You expect the Sharks to make that tackle. It was a good, tough line, but it was not savable. No. Like you put your body in front, you pump him back. Yeah. He runs straight through your middles and just goes. Game. He called game.
Well, that's the beauty of the Tino one before. Like you run harder.
Fucking 6'5".
Still.
Yeah, I know. But like,
it's the intent.
Cherry ran hard. I get it. But you see the guys that he ran through and just I'm like, fuck. Their danger, their thing with the Sharks is Nico in defence. Where do you think Presto scored his tries? Or they had a lot of joy on that left edge. They're doing the inside out of Nico. Got to fix that shit. Otherwise, they can't win the premiership.
Yep. Agreed. Oh, yeah.
Someone in here at 10.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the Seagulls.
Fuck, running on Super Saturday.
No, we've got 2 to go.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 2 to go. All right, the Seagulls 26 defeat the Eels 12. Chaotic week for Manly.
Yeah.
Felt like they did this in second gear as well, though. Let's move straight on to the most important part. And the Ches noise or whatever, but we've only got a little bit of time. Someone needs to have a grown-up conversation with Turbo about these injuries. Yep. And I've said it before and I've mentioned it before, and it's a tough conversation, and he's an elite player and he's an elite fullback. For the betterment of him and long-term at Manly, if they want to keep him on the field, and I know it's fucking going to hurt to have that conversation because egos and he's proud and he's an elite fullback, I just don't think he can, mate. Like this is how long it feels like. What's the definition of crazy?
I feel like what you're saying there,
doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result.
I feel like what you just said. Then, if you have that, him feeling like what he did yesterday, and not being able to compete because his body has gone, no, you can't. You'd have to think now, if you have that conversation with him, I want to put you in the front line because of the fact that I can't have you out there second guessing everything like that. If he does play 6 or whatever, I don't think the conversation is going to be that hard now. Just after a few things this year, him being pretty much on full tilt at the start of the year, and it's round 4. And look what happened, because like sometimes your body just breaks down. And then he mightn't be made for fullback. His body's just gone, no, maybe it's the front line. I don't know. Maybe you can just do that. I don't think the conversation's that hard anymore.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to feel like he did yesterday at Brookie, going, my body's given up because I push it too hard and it just can't do what I want to do at fullback.
The hard thing is, and Steve's brought this up after the game, and this is the hard thing as a competitor, he's doing everything he possibly can. Like his attention to Turbo, a couple of years ago, he had obviously that fucking the run through of the Corso, but his attention to detail and how hard he's worked on the board, that must be the most frustrating thing for him. And apparently, by all reports, he's fucking looking the Mickey at training, so that's throwing it off as well. But
that's why I think the conversation is not going to be that hard.
It needs a year or two. What does his contract look like?
Don't know if he might be able to carve it at 6.
He already said he was going to take a pay cut last year, which is a credit to him and his, what he's willing to get back to the team. But in saying that, we're going through all this Ches stuff. Like, what is the conversation going to look like with Turbo moving forward? Because that's going to be a really tricky.
Brooks at 7, Turbo at 6, Hopewadi at 1.
Joey said he hated it.
Yeah, I don't like it as well.
I don't like it either, but for the longevity of Turbo.
Joey was saying it's more about his tackle tech. Like, he's grown up playing fullback his whole career, never tackled.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be able to pick it up. Yeah, Lockyer and GI, they'll be able to figure out. I'm more worried about, I just don't want him making tackles. That's the thing. So I like him as that hybrid wing fullback with Hopewadi.
I don't fucking know. Manly's got to figure that shit out, because this is a big deal.
Yeah. Parramatta, they emptied the tank last week, but they hardly fired a shot in this. I'm going back to it.
Fuck Brown. What the fuck is Brown doing?
Well, here's think about this, and this is a question, and I'm not completely sold on this. Take, with that spine of Joey Lussick, Dean Hawkins, and a young Isaiah Yongi, put Mitch in Dylan's position. Do you think the result changes in any way?
Not really. No. I just want Brown to have a crack. You didn't touch a ball in the second half. Yeah. That's all. I don't give a fuck. What do you do if you lose the game? Just have a crack. Swinging? Go down swinging, mate. They're still paying you. You're still there. If I'm playing in that team, I'm looking at him like, why haven't you had a hit up in the second half? We need you. You're our best player.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that for if he does this for the rest of the year, just seem to like have a half off, because the first half he was on.
Yep.
And then you decide to do nothing. I'm not sure what it is. It's a business decision.
With all due respect, this was not the best game. Sea Eagles done it in second gear. Eels still got a lot to work on. Let's move on to this game, because this is better.
I like it.
The Warriors 26 defeated the Tigers 24. I said after Vegas they lacked a chief communicator with SJ and Tohu moving on. We discussed who that person could be. We weren't totally sold on Chanel Harris-Tavita and Luke Metcalf. We both identified Egan as being that dude. And I think Egan is that dude.
He is. He just needs to not overplay his hands sometimes, like know when he's showing left and comes back right to, like with Fish Harris, that timing is off. It's on with Fanua Blake.
Yep.
But you need to get that, because Fish and Fanua Blake, they're different players, mate. Different tempos, and one wants early ball, one wants to hit that line there. Just needs to slow it down a little bit. Just play off the ground most of the time when you got guys like Fish and Barnett and all these big dogs in the middle. Aaron Clark, all right, he goes all right, good lead speed.
He's slowly turning into a good 13.
He's all right. Yeah, just don't overplay your hand too much. To play Warrior football, just smash mouth, get through your sets, and just fucking beat the shit out of the other team. It's not that hard. Complete your sets.
Well, at the start of the season too, we're probably concerned about their young players that are coming off the bench, but Val Munga and Halasima. He also, because you had guys like, I think, Bunty Afoa and a couple of more senior players that have been thereabouts, and he stuck solid with those two young guys, and they're starting to repay him as well.
Yeah, I thought they were good. I thought they were really good. Bunty Afoa missed a couple of things in defence in the middle, getting a bit tired. Yeah, I don't know. They looked all right, the Warriors. Tigers should have. In my head, this is one of those games where I'm sitting there going, how the fuck did Tigers lose this game?
Yeah.
But that's that mentality, right? Like, sometimes they're going to let these games slip where they just can't if they want to be a genuine top 8.
Yep.
I don't look at the Warriors as a genuine top 8.
No,
still,
not yet.
They're still like,
for sure.
When they had the game like that, like, I think when the fullback Buller went, when it wasn't a try, they thought, in their head, it's game over. We're going to carve these guys. Yeah. And then they just slowly crept back.
And Terrell May should have was so close to scoring that try.
It looked like, so mentally, you're like, we've got fucking 2 tries. We're going to get it soon, right? Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where
Credit to the Warriors.
Yeah, and that's a good mentality for the Warriors.
Well, you know what? The Warriors have sort of got this now with a couple of years of going through a good year and a bad year and learning how to win these games. The Tigers have still got that wooden spoon mentality where they haven't won a number of these games in this fashion, so they just need to learn.
Yeah.
It's going to take games like this, losing, but then also winning one in the next couple of weeks, and then in 10 games, they'll be better for it.
Even that try when it was the 9-7-6, and just interchange. That was like that's like a training try, like engaging at markers, and he goes the other way and goes through, and then I was just like, wow, how the fuck did he score there? Just do your job at mark, and that's just having little plays off, not mentally being in the game 24/7. Because you stop that set of 6, right? You get the ball, you could potentially win that game. That's like 10 minutes to go. That's game time, And if you have a look at it, it's like, players haven't played that much. It's all communication. It's all like fatigue and everything like that. So they need to really stay on.
The improvement's there, isn't it?
It's fucking there. They're only just missing these assignments, right, in the middle.
Yeah.
Like they're just going out, like, and, ball and this and that, and engaging at marker, where you just don't do that to really key nines like that who they want engagement. So the other nine, it's just
By the way,
mental thing.
It's positive. I just wanted to have a look at it because after they played, I thought Terrell May played 80 minutes. Fanua Pole played 70, I think.
Great work.
They're tied up until 2027. That Gio. That's you can build a pack.
Pole's good, man.
You can build something. They need an edge back row. Samuel Afinu is really good. Alex Seyfarth's much improved. I think they could maybe use an extra bench.
Just need one more middle. There'll be someone there. There'll be someone there.
Yeah.
That Bole, when he scored that try, who's he throw off there? The Fish.
The Fish
don't miss those fucking tackles, mate.
And through, I think it was Capewell and Chance Nickel.
I bet he's a fucking animal in the gym too. Look at him.
Chance Nickel-Klogstad gets the win by... Mate, I don't like that in the game. It's a part of the game that I hate. Some of the players laying down, and I think Taruva had one early on that was awful as well. On the other side, these players are bigger and stronger than that. You don't need to win games in that fashion. I know it's part of the game, and you could call it gamesmanship and all that. I don't like it. I'm happy to call it out because it's not. I'm not targeting the same person every week, but when I see you get up and you're fine. Yeah. If a player lies down like that, and I really want refs and video referees to come in, if Chance is going to stay down like that and get a penalty, get him off the field for the final 8 minutes because he comes up with a crucial play to stop Taruva later on, which seals the game. Now, credit to Chance for getting himself in that position, but if he laid down and he was that sore for that penalty, take him off.
It's hard. It's a fine line, that.
Taruva did it about maybe in the first half or early in the game. And it looked really bad. Yeah. He got hit around here, and he's like,
But it wasn't a head knock for Taruva. That's why I didn't understand.
So what does players do? Players.
But why can you get a HIA pass
for being for trying to get a penalty? That's what
surely that's where an independent doctor goes, oh no, he can't breathe, he's winded.
No, but that's when I want the independent doctor to come on, going, oh, it looks like he's out of air or something like that.
That's my point. Yeah,
and stop him from fucking. Yeah, you know where I'm going.
It's hard, man. It's hard. But you got to. This is you're testing these players, modern day gladiators' credibility and characters getting tested here. We're saying that you're not fucking injured.
Take him off the fight.
No, I'm just saying, but like you can't do that. You can't question their credibility. Like even like Chance were like, nah, there's nothing wrong with you. We don't know that. The ref don't know that. And in that moment, the rules look like whatever it was, penalty.